My stepdaughters turned on me after their real mother came back.
Oh no, reverse Cinderella.
I'm 36 female and my husband is 42 male, and he has 2 daughters who are 16 and 13. My husband and I have been together for 8 years. For some context, the girls have a mom who's just not active in their life. She comes around once a year or every other year, stays for 2 to 3 months, and then leaves. By the way, this comes from username, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Savannah.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, the problem is when she comes to town, the girls change. For example, after my husband and I got married, they started calling me mom, as they felt I was their mom. But when their mom came back, they would stop and call her mom and push me to the side. I understood why they did that then, as they were young and confused, trying to please her. We put them in therapy, and their therapist had them apologize and tried to help them explain it. The next 2 times it happened, she told me to try and have a talk with them. Their mom decided not to come for the next 2 years, and it was a really peaceful 2 years. The kids were good, enjoying school, their new brother, and were just happy. This year, their mom decided to come. She arrived in August and stayed until about a week ago. This time when she came, the girls changed completely. It started with them not calling me mom, to saying disrespectful things to me and their dad, to telling their brother that they didn't like him and that he wasn't their real brother. The main thing they said that really hurt was that I wasn't their mom, that I would never be, and that I'm a bad stepmom and their mom is their only mom. So last week when their mom left, they slowly tried to crawl back and start calling me mom again.
Oh, no.
I told them that I didn't want them to call me that anymore. They looked shocked when I said that and asked why. I told them that they told me multiple times that I wasn't their mom, that I was a bad stepmom, and that their mom was their only mom. So I said I no longer view them as my kids. They looked hurt and went to tell their dad what I said. He told them it's between us. The therapist thinks I was harsh, but I don't. They're old enough to realize what's right and what's wrong to say, so am I the a-hole? Honestly, yes and no, in my opinion. But what do you think?
I need some more context.
Yeah. Ooh-hoo-hoo. I think if the therapist is telling you that you were too harsh, they're probably right. But I do think that they needed to hear that. I just think that,
agree.
Maybe you could have made it a little nicer, like talking to them about how much it hurt you that they said that, and now they're coming back to you, asking you to be the mom again. So just explaining your feelings about that rather than just saying, you're not my kids anymore. But I don't think that you're wrong for kind of, calling them out on it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like a hard truth. Remember what you just did to me last week? I'm not just going to forgive that. I have to do that to the kids all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, we're not just going to skim over that.
Yeah.
That was hurtful.
Exactly. But I think she needed to say that rather than just be like, you're not my kids.
Yeah.
Note, I also want to add that I don't blame the younger one as much as I blame the older one, as she should know better. I understand things with parents are hard, but I was younger than her when I cut my father off, and he was similar to how their mom is. The rose-colored glasses should be faded or fading by now, as she's old enough to understand. Honestly, I think that's kind of harsh for OP to say. I don't all kids react to things differently, and I don't think that you can say a 16-year-old should behave perfectly because they're 16.
And also, you're going through a lot in teenage years.
Yeah.
So, I feel like that's really hard to, be like, well, you know what you said, all this stuff.
Exactly.
They're also a teenager.
They're also a teenager. I mean, tons of teenagers with, bio parents will say, I hate you, you're not my mom.
Yeah.
So, I think having a little bit of sympathy, a little bit of understanding, and not comparing your experience with theirs because it's different.
Yeah, that's tricky to be like, oh, well, this is how I reacted, but obviously everyone acts different and also completely different scenario in very different times.
Agreed. Comments. Comment 1 says it sounds like their mom is in their ear telling them stuff. Probably lies. That's what we said about you and their dad. That's what it seems like is happening every time their mom shows up. They probably miss her and want her validation, so they listen to her. OP says, I think they're just trying to please her in hopes that if they do, she will start meeting their needs. Maternal abandonment is damaging in a primal way. And for most, even having excellent additional parents doesn't erase the pain and confusion of knowing that someone who made you wants nothing to do with you. Reply, they're kids with attachment issues, having been repeatedly abandoned by their inconsistent biological mother. Children with attachment issues often lash out at those most steady and stable in their life, but they, just like any children, and actually more than most children, really, really need that stability and love. Of course, OP feels hurt. Of course, she feels abandoned by them. And I think it's reasonable for her to communicate that hurt to them. But she's the adult in this situation, and I think she went about communicating her hurt in an incredibly cruel and destructive way. These kids are in deep pain from their biomom abandoning them yet again. They clearly don't have the ability to fully detach from wanting their biological mother's love and approval. When kids with abandonment issues push you away, you can let them know their actions hurt you, but for God's sakes, don't reply with what is essentially, you said you didn't want me, so you know what? I don't want you either. That is going to be so incredibly damaging to them. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think, like, that was the wrong thing to say. Like, you can't, you as an adult can, like, actually take, like, you can take and process and then say, like, okay, this is what I meant or blah, blah, blah. Like, she kind of just was, she did exactly kind of what they did.
Exactly. It's like when a kid says, like, you're stupid and I hate you. You can't be like, well, you're stupid and I hate you.
Right? Yeah.
That's not the adult response.
Yeah.
Reply. Agree, but I think their dad needs to step up and tell the girls that what they say and how they treat them is not okay. He needs to address it when it happens and continue to address it every time. Honestly, the bio's mom's behavior is inexcusable and she is 100% the main problem and causing this behavior likely, but dad has and should be shutting it down when it's happening. The girls need to understand that they can't treat anyone this way. It will not serve them well in life if they continue this behavior with OP and likely with others. People don't like to be disposed of when they are inconvenient or not needed, and then the people act like nothing happened and treat them as usual when they want them or need something. This is not okay behavior for anyone, and no one appreciates it, and I understand OP's reaction. But again, the dad needs to step up and deal with this behavior consistently. His daughters need to learn this is not okay with OP or with anyone. And they may need a different therapist who can help them understand why this behavior is not okay, dig into why they do this, and what the mom is doing or saying to cause this behavior towards OP. Their dad and the girl's half-brother. And there is an update, but do you have any other thoughts before we jump in?
I mean, I would have to just agree. Like, I just think that OP kind of, you dropped the ball on this one. Like, I think you let your emotions get the best of you. And then what happened was, you know, kind of like a snowball effect.
Yeah.
Like, now it's like a bigger issue that they have to deal with. And that's like, no child ever wants to hear from like any grown up. Like, like oh, like you're not my kids, or I don't want you to call me mom anymore because you're actually not. Like, that's such
so
like
heartbreaking.
Like breaks my heart to just like think of like any like parent figure in your life, and them to say that is like, oh
yeah. I think they're I understand why you said what you said, but still can't say that. Have to say it in a little bit more mature way.
Yeah,
but there is an update. I saw a lot of questions that asked, why do we allow their mother in their lives? I'm not over that my husband feels like it's not on him to keep the girls from seeing her. He will ask if they want to, and they say yes. Another question I saw a lot of was, why doesn't their dad say anything? He does. He's taken away their things and has tried to have talks with them, and they just listen and block him out. The reason why he stayed out is because whenever they don't like something I tell them, they run to him. He has said he does side with me on this, but feels I was too hard on them. A few days after I posted this, my husband and I sat down with the girls, and I told them that I was sorry for what I said and that I worded it wrong. Good. Yay. This is awesome.
That's exactly what you needed to do.
Yeah.
Boom. Fixed.
Boom. Fixed almost. Not quite. I told them I still view them as my kids. They just aren't allowed to call me mom anymore and have to call me by my name now. I also told them that our relationship is broken and I didn't break it. I did help a little, but they broke it. And if they wanted it back to how it used to be, they would have to rebuild it. I also told them that they had to play with their brother for 3 hours and apologize to him. He's 4. That's really such a specific time.
Punishment.
Go play with your brother for 3 hours.
And smile and don't blink.
And you're happy about it. And if he wants to play Roblox, you're playing.
Watch every second. Watch every
movie. I don't care. You're playing Roblox hide and seek and you're happy about it. They had a few more punishments, but we did talk to them and try to figure out what she says that influences them so much. We got the answer of, I don't know. We told them that they can't be easily manipulated, and especially the 16-year-old with her going to college soon and trying to drive. So we talked about things that could happen with that. We also told them they can't just say what they want to people and expect things to stay the same, especially if it's stuff that hurts people. They apologized for the things they said and how they acted and said they wanted things to go back to normal. I told them that I would forgive them when they did the stuff with their brother first, and that if they want things back to normal, then they would have to work for it. From what they said, they don't want to see their mom for a long time. So they'll go to their therapist soon and talk to her about this. And by the way, you can talk to us about listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. We can talk about it right now. But we have some final comments. Comment 1 says, your husband has failed his daughters in protecting them from someone who he knows damages them by continuously building up their hopes and dreams and crashes them time and time again by abandoning them. If he absolutely could not bring himself to not allow their mom into their lives whenever she pleased, he should have been far more vigilant and never allowed them to be unsupervised with her. He didn't. And now you're all here. What a mess. I'd maybe cut out their punishment of having to play with their brother. Definitely keep the punishments for speaking down to him. Make it clear we do not talk to others like that in this household, but don't make him the object of their resentment. He deserves better than to be utilized as a tool for punishment. I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to make, playing with your brother a punishment.
Yeah.
That's
then that's
weird.
what they always will think, like, oh, I'm in trouble.
Oh,
because
I have to play with little Jimmy.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Not Roblox again. Even if the objective is to create a better relationship. Encourage it. Don't harm it by making it a chore. And edit, I've worded myself very wrong. They have to play with their little brother as an apology to him. He's 4. If they apologize, he's going to say it's okay and then continue to ignore them. So it's not a punishment, more of his apology. Yeah, I guess that's something.
They probably don't see it in that way, though.
Yeah, I guess I see what you're going for, but that's the end of that story, folks.
I refuse to share my birthday with my stepmother.
Oh, the evil stepmother has a separate birthday.
My stepmother's birthday is the day after mine. Since my father started dating her about 10 years ago, I've been expected to share almost every celebration we make for my birthday with her. I was fine with it because I was early in my 20s and had other people to celebrate with, namely my mom and friends, but it still bothered me that my dad and I couldn't have our own thing. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Birthday Trad, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I'm married with 2 kids, 8 male and 3 female, and we have a little tradition. Because I was born in the second half of June, there is usually a Pixar movie playing in theaters. Every year on my birthday, we go to the movies to watch it and then have dinner together. We've been doing this since my son was 3. Though we watched the movies at home during the vid, this year we were able to watch Inside Out 2. It will be my daughter's first time joining us. She just started sitting through movies. So we're all very excited. I never told my father or stepmother about this tradition. Last week we were visiting them. My kids told them we'd be going to the movies for my birthday, and I ended up explaining everything. The next day, my father and stepmother called me to tell me they're paying for the whole family, me, kids, husbands, and both of them, to go to the movies. and have dinner, just like I planned. It was obvious they intended to celebrate my stepmother's birthday at the same time. They referred to it as our birthdays and suggested her favorite place for dinner. I told them that while I understood it was close to her birthday as well, this tradition intended to be only mine to celebrate, and I prefer to enjoy it with my children and husband. As such, I prefer to pay for it myself and would appreciate if they didn't join us. They both were very upset. My father called me entitled for refusing to celebrate my stepmother's birthday as well as mine and said I'm sending a terrible message to my kids by refusing to share. I feel like I'm too old to be acting like this over my birthday, but I don't want to share this tradition with her. Am I the a-hole? Cranquip says not the a-hole. I love how you have chosen to celebrate your birthday with a tradition that includes your children. This is very sweet. And I know they will each remember this tradition when they are grown. Your father and stepmom are way out of line for trying to barge into your birthday plans. I would normally suggest explaining to your father that you want to keep your birthday celebration as it is. Just you, hubby, and the children. However, this would probably be a waste of time, so why bother? I hope they don't know the theater you're going to go to and the showtime. I wouldn't put it past them to just show up anyways. Opie says we don't know what theater we're going to yet, and they won't be informed once we know. Fresh Ad says, so while it was very inconsiderable for them to invite themselves, basically offering to pay as a sweetener, I don't know if anyone over the age of 25 who really celebrates their own birthday or expects it to be unless it's a milestone. If my parents offer to take me to dinner, I'll go, but I'd legit not turn down a free meal wherever I want to go any day. My husband knows I don't want or expect anything. As the years have gone by, he has understood how unimportant my birthday is. On his birthday, same thing. I can tell that anything I do, he really appreciates, but thinks it's totally unnecessary and kind of wonders why. To be honest, I think we only bother with the cakes is for our children because they really, really want a birthday cake. On the other hand, I had C-sections on my second and third kids were scheduled. My OBGYN originally wanted the second baby on my birthday. I'm right on the edge of being a Gemini in Cancer. So I was like, we don't need another Gem in the house. Can we push it just a little? He was born 3 days after my birthday. Yes, it was partially because I didn't really want another Gemini.
That's hilarious.
But I definitely didn't want to share my birthday. So I get that regard. But when I was younger, I would share my birthday / Father's Day celebrations with the men in our family and never mind it. And I expect as my son gets into his teen years, our family will go out to a birthday dinner to celebrate both of us. And I don't really care, not the a-hole, but I do think you're kind of immature. Do it this year. Now they know it's a tradition for you and your kids. And hopefully we'll know better than to butt in next year. If so, then it's more appropriate to tell them to give you space since they have already known for a year. I also think that you told them and they didn't respect it as a bigger problem than a grown woman wanting to have a birthday tradition. But that's still weird. Opie says, sounds like you and your son's birthdays are very close to mine. I'll take the opportunity to state I'm turning 32. My birthday is not an event I look forward to all year, but I do care about it and enjoy celebrating it. I don't think there's a problem with that. If I'd never been expected to share my birthday with my stepmother before, I wouldn't mind doing it now, but it happened frequently for years. So do it this year doesn't really apply. I will turn down any gifts that come with strings attached, meals included. Adfew says, unless the stepmom is younger than OP, wouldn't put it past them about how childish dad and stepmom are behaving. Opie says she's not. I don't think I'd ever be able to look at my father in the face if she was younger than me. Lady Havoc says you could always let them plan and then they announce the theater. You just go somewhere different. Opie says it's not worth it. I don't want to cause a bigger scene or make this a bigger deal. I just want it to be over. We got an update. What will the father and stepmother do next?
Everyone has a birthday on a day. Guess what? If your birthday was on January 1st or July 4th or Christmas.
June 4th.
There's only so many days in a year.
Keon and my brother Tate share a birthday.
We share a birthday.
And
I'm
I
not
gave
gonna be like,
Keon a gift before my brother.
well, I'm here.
But anyways, yeah, everybody's got a birthday.
Also, it's not like, oh, my birthday's this day and I only have to celebrate it on this day. You can go to push it to a weekend, push it to next week.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not, there's no crime against that.
Yeah, exactly.
I did that. I pushed, I was like, oh, my birthday's on a Wednesday. I went out for dinner, but I'm like, I'm not going out with friends. I want to go out.
Yeah, he
on
didn't.
The weekend.
He didn't invite me to his birthday dinner.
Whoa, Keon. How'd you do that?
I don't know. I acted like Angie's cool about it.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, if the real reason that, if you're upset just because you're like, man, I don't want to remind my birthday, but if you're upset because like you just want a special time like with just your dad, which is like at one point what it kind of sounded like it was, then tell him that.
just try to figure something out. Just be like, hey, like, I just really like just get down to the root of the problem and talk about that. Then figure it out, because like if maybe you can do something else, or maybe he'll understand why you're like gung-ho for this, you know, or share your birthday. I don't know. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal as long as like that message is communicated.
First of all, as I write this, I've just celebrated my birthday, June 22nd, with my husband and kids. We all watched AIO in theaters and went to a restaurant I love. It was wonderful. My father and stepmother were not involved, as they have traveled for her birthday. Secondly, your comments on my first post, as well as some other things I had going on in my life at the time, led me to reflect a lot about my relationship with my father. I've chosen to save the majority of that for therapy, but what's most relevant here is that I realize I really don't know how to celebrate my birthday. I've been expected to prioritize what others wanted since I was a teen. The things we do and the places I'd celebrate at were rarely my picks and always for someone else's benefit. Whenever I said anything about that, I get told I was acting spoiled. My stepmother's presence made it a lot worse. At least when I was younger, it still felt like it was about me. I genuinely love the birthday tradition I have with my family, but I have no idea what I'd like to do otherwise. One day, me and my children might grow out of this, or these films will plummet into quality to a degree I can't defend. If that time comes, I'm going to need a backup plan. I've spent the majority of my last year discovering things I'm genuinely enjoying doing. I'm almost always busy at work, so I still am working on it, but I've made some progress. Turns out I love pinball, painting, board games, and building miniatures. My ability on all the above range from mediocre to awful. But I have time to learn, and the list keeps going. My husband just got me a huge Lego set for my birthday.
Nice.
We started working on it after the kids went to bed, and will take us a while to finish it, but I love it already. And I love whenever you do this simple thing with your ears, and it's when you tune in to OK Storytime on your favorite podcast platform. Just search up OK Storytime on Apple, iHeartRadio, or Spotify, and pierce your ears to the most craziest stories the internet has to offer. As for my father and stepmother, after our celebration last year, which they didn't hijack, as some of you thought they would, things were rough for a while. I ended up having a few long conversations with my father about their relationship. Most relevant here, I made it very clear that the fact we couldn't at least celebrate my birthday privately upset me a lot, and I will not share my birthday with my stepmother anymore. Overall, our relationship is doing all right. Not great, but it's better than last year. I do feel like it's something we're both working on and improving. I think that's everything. Thanks, everyone. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay, so she's speaking her truth, standing up for her birthday.
Yeah.
And yeah, hopefully she just won't feel not as special in the future.
Yeah, and you need daddy-daughter time.
I refuse to adopt my stepdaughter.
Just gonna have to find new parents now.
I'm 30 female and my husband is 34 male and my stepdaughter is 12. My stepdaughter's mom passed away when she was 2 and I came into her life when she was 8. We have a close relationship that I feel is normal for a step-parent. She doesn't call me mom, and that's okay. I want her to do whatever she's comfortable with. By the way, this comes from Rare Ranger 4056, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Riley.
And OP says, these past few weeks she's been asking if I would adopt her. Apparently she had talked with my husband, and he told her it would be a good idea to ask me. I told her to let me think about it. When I asked my husband why he thought adoption was a good idea, he said it would make her feel like family and prevent her from feeling different from our kids when the baby comes.
Real quick, PowerPoint.
PowerPoint?
I'm gonna need a PowerPoint 12-year-old.
Yeah, you have to give me good reasons why I should adopt you.
I'm gonna need a pros and cons list, and I need you to think about the cons here.
What can you do for me? Sharks, I'm here today to ask you to adopt me. Gotta do a shark pitch. I told him the kid's not even here yet, so if that's the case, then let her therapist talk to her about it first. He asked why I didn't want to adopt her. I told him that we aren't on that level yet. She doesn't call me mom and has never really treated me like a real mom, more like a bonus adult when she needs one. And I said that's fine. But if I adopt her, that means I'm her mom, and if she doesn't see me as mom, then why would I adopt her? I told her I wouldn't adopt her right now, and she was sad and started crying. It feels like she wants, like, this is kind of the way that she's transitioning into seeing you as mom.
Yes. Legally on paper.
Yeah, she's like, you're not my mom until it's legal.
Oh, but what if the school calls? They're going to call for my mom, and if it's not on paper, she can't call you.
You can't come. You just can't come. It's the rules. I see it
to
in
be
OPs.
real,
Yeah.
I've met 12-year-old girls. Sometimes they can be evil. That was
So you
me.
think that she's got another plot going on?
I don't know why, but that is in the back of my
That's
head.
in the back
or
of your head. Yeah.
that could be, from 12-year-old Riley getting rejected by the girls that were
Aw.
mean to me.
Yeah.
That could also be in my head.
Maybe
I don't
maybe
know.
she just wants to be adopted, and that's it. No ulterior motives. I explained that she doesn't really see me as mom, and that if we got closer in the future, I would consider it. But I think she needs to understand what she's asking first.
How long has OP in
4 years. So it's not like that long, but it definitely would be, fairly long for, a kid who's 8 years old and is now 12. Like, those are pretty
Yeah, it's a third.
fundamental years.
Yeah, a third of the life.
She told her grandmother on her mom's side, and they said it was disrespectful of my husband to even suggest it, while his family thinks I should just do it to make the girl feel part of the family. I do think it's weird that the dad brought it up to his daughter before talking to OP about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like it could have been, hey, how do you feel about adopting her? Wanted to gauge your reaction. And then if OP was like, yeah, if she's down, I'm down.
Yeah.
And then you go to the daughter.
Yes. This feels like a little game of chess somehow.
It's like he's trying to trap. It feels like he's got the plot.
Yeah.
The main reason I won't adopt her is because I don't feel she's asking for the right reason. I think she's asking because she doesn't want to feel left out, not because she wants me to be her mom. Also, she has other mother figures. Her grandmother and aunt have done a lot of motherly things with her, and some people don't count them as mother figures, but I do. I never said adoption was off the table. It just mainly is for now until she gets older, understands it more, and wants me because she sees me as a mom. Let me explain what I mean when I say she doesn't treat me like a mom. If she was old enough to go wedding dress shopping, she wouldn't pick me for that. She would go to her aunt and grandma, and nothing's wrong with that since I'm not her mom.
I see what you're saying.
But I know if I had my own daughter, that's a mother-daughter experience I want. So for things you go to a mom for, she goes to them, and nothing's wrong with that. But if she was my daughter, I would expect her to go to me. Do I see her as my daughter? Kinda, I do. But I also see her as a stepdaughter. I know some people think feeling left out is a reason to get adopted, but in my opinion, it's not. For example, last year she was upset that we went to my mom for Christmas and she went to her mom's parents, so she felt left out. We said every other Christmas she could come with us and she was happy. If I adopted her, that wouldn't have fixed the issue at all. It would have just put a Band-Aid on it and she still would have felt left out.
Hot take, real quick.
Yes.
And now we're just giving our best advice. We haven't been through any of this before. So if you have, leave your comments down below. If I am marrying someone and they have a kid,
Yeah.
I would try to be a great father figure. I'd probably try and put as much emphasis as I can. And hopefully my partner in the scenario would too. Doesn't really feel like that's the focus of this family. So this is why it feels out of the blue to request this.
Exactly. It feels like OP wasn't trying to, pressure her stepdaughter into seeing her as in any type of way. She was just like, whatever you're comfortable with. And it doesn't seem like they have a bad relationship.
No.
But now it feels like the dad is trying to pressure it, probably because he's about to have a kid.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want my whole family to be united and stuff.
Yeah. And right for the throat, he's going, rather than, hey, let's have a picnic, a family picnic. Let's, I don't know, go to a water park.
Yeah.
Do some family activities.
I feel like he could work on the bonding before he suggested the adoption.
See, before the adoption, I'm stepdad. Dude, we're playing Catan.
Yeah.
Dude, we're
every night.
Every night we're
Catan.
Painting nails, getting some tea time going.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing it all.
So if she feels like she doesn't belong, I'd rather figure out why she feels that way rather than adopt her and have her still feel that way. About her calling me mom. I assume if I adopt her, she would call me mom since I would be her mother. But if she didn't, it would be okay. And I didn't tell her I wouldn't adopt her. I said not right now, and maybe later when she's 15 to 20 and we may have a closer relationship. We've already planned to do family therapy sessions again, and she's in therapy. And there are some comments. There's a couple. Do you have any thoughts before we get into these comments?
Again, haven't been through this before. I would try and be a mother figure if I was OP.
Yeah. I think they should have talked about it beforehand before they brought in the daughter. Because now she's going to be disappointed. She got her hopes up about this adoption thing and
hopes
It's
up
like-
at 12.
Well, it's like telling, it's like going to her, like the 12-year-old and being like, we're going to Disneyland before talking to OP. And then OP's like, what? We don't have the money for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then OP has to be like, sorry, we're not going to Disneyland. Instead of just like having the conversation beforehand.
That happened to a cousin of mine.
That's rough.
They went to Universal, though.
Oh, that's something.
Because Disneyland was just super expensive.
It's
Disney
so
World.
expensive. Oh my gosh, yeah. Comment 1 says, agree with grandmother, should have been discussed with all adults before she was told to go and ask you. Reply, and since OP can't control what her husband does or change the crappy way he handled it, she should have had a talk with the stepdaughter about why she wants this and what she's hoping for in this situation. It looks like OP did a lot of assuming without actually speaking to the stepdaughter, which is just always a recipe for disaster. It's possible the stepdaughter genuinely wants to have a mother-daughter relationship with stepmom, but is worried about rejection or that stepmom doesn't view her that way. This fear would be amplified by the new baby on the way, a real child for the stepmom. A fear OP accidentally just confirmed, whether intentional or not. And how did the discussion between the husband and stepdaughter come about? Did husband recommend it out of the blue, or was the stepdaughter talking to him about something? Everyone sucks here between OP and her husband.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it does feel like, especially based off of the 12-year-old's reaction of crying, it does feel like she did really want OP to be a mother figure for her. And it feels like I would agree with that comment. OP did make a lot of assumptions. Like, yeah, she wouldn't go to me. She doesn't call me mom. It's like maybe she wanted to do all that. And this was the transition.
OP, maybe you needed to initiate some of that stuff.
Yeah.
As an 8-year-old,
Well, you couldn't initiate like calling me mom, but there are, other things.
The thing she was saying, like if she went wedding dress shopping, you could have been like, hey, would you like me to go with you?
Yeah.
Hey, you want to go get some, I don't know, fun coffee thing?
Yeah, I think there is. I don't think that you're wrong about wanting to make sure that she knows what adopting her would mean. But I do think that the kind of relationship building falls a lot on you to kind of push for.
I agree. Because you're
the adult.
old. Yeah.
Yeah. Comment 2 says, I think she's asking because she doesn't want to feel left out. Wanting to be on equal standing in your family is an incredibly valid reason. She's 12. She looks up to you. Think very carefully about what happens next. Reply, it was painful to read the post. All the adults in the stepdaughter's life are focused on the adoption because they think that's the issue, whether OP is a mom figure or not. But the real issue is, why does the stepdaughter feel she's going to be left out? And there is an update. Let's get into it. Update says, I'm back with an update and would like to clear up a few things. About Christmas, she spends it with her mom's side because they asked for that holiday. For people who asked why I don't go with her, it's because they don't like that my husband started dating before she was 18. He had to wait 10 years to date? That's insane. And they talked bad about me in their language, they're Hispanic, which caused a lot of problems between them and my husband. Sometimes he goes and sometimes he doesn't. People also asked if I take her out. During the school year, I let her pick if she has time to go out. On Friday, I have to pick her up early for a therapist, and then if she doesn't have schoolwork or projects that need to be done, we may go out for lunch and shopping or to the park or just do something. If you ask why not the weekend, she spends most of those with their grandmother and their family. Another thing people asked about was whether we had a conversation about this before marriage. It was touched on, and I told him that he would need to talk to everyone, including her mother's side, but then it never really came up again. So, on to the update. Last week, me, my husband, and my stepdaughter all talked about why she wanted to be adopted. To sum it up, when we have our kids, she doesn't want to have a different mom than them or be different than them, which we understood. We told her the reality of what would probably happen if I adopted her. We explained that her mom's side would most likely end up not speaking to her again. We would change her last name, she has her mom's, and probably her birth certificate. She thought about that and asked if she could still keep her last name and see her mom's side. We said maybe to the last name, since it's already hard enough when we go places and register her places and they wonder why we don't have the same last name. We also told her that her siblings' names would be hyphenated. We told her that her mom's side of the family is a wild card and that if they find that disrespectful and stop talking, we can't control them and make them talk to her. She talked about how she didn't want to lose them, and we just listened.
Gosh.
But I don't want to lose you guys, so please go listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story.
That's so much for a 12-year-old to process.
Yeah, it's just a lot. She's just like, oh, wait, okay, I just wanted you to be my mom.
Yeah.
And now you're telling me if you are my mom, I lose my entire, maternal side of the family. And also I have to change my name. That's a lot.
For a 12-year-old to decide. And the way you were logically going through it.
Also, why would she have to change her name? It doesn't make sense to me because I'm wondering, like, if she already didn't have her dad's name, why?
I think for looks, because OP has her husband's last name.
Yeah.
And the stepdaughter does not have the husband's last name.
Does it really matter that much?
To them.
I guess so. The next few days, we went to her therapist, just me and her. Her dad had work that day and couldn't make it. Her therapist talked to both of us and afterwards said that if she was still persistent in around 6 months to a year, then go ahead and do it, but to try other options to make her feel like family and use this time to try to get the mom side on board. But if we can't, then that will need to be a serious conversation that we need to have with her. Right now, adoption seems to be a temporary solution she created that will make things better. So the therapist wants every other monthly family visits with us to try to see if we can make a permanent solution to her problem. I think that's good. I think y'all went to therapy and realized, oh, you know what? We don't want to rush into this because it is a big decision for her as well as a 12-year-old. So I think this is a good idea. Take it slow.
More tea time.
Yeah, see if there's another way to fix this. And keep including her. Make sure she feels included.
Game nights.
Catan every night. But that's the end of that story, and we've got another one coming right up.
My father tried to trick my stepmother, so I exposed him.
What? Why would you do that?
My 17 female stepmother, Jane, is a wonderful, wonderful woman. She and my father got married when I was 4, and she's been a rock in my life ever since. My mother was always my primary caregiver, but up until that point, her relationship with my father was acrimonious, and I basically never saw him. By the way, this comes from user WholePomegranate5342, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Angie.
And I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so if you do something different, let us know in the comments. OP says, Jane was the reason they developed a stable co-parenting relationship. She encouraged everyone having a good relationship with each other and was always there to support me and my mom when things got rough. Jane was always a really hard worker. When she met my dad, he was living out of a hotel, and my mother was doing everything in her power to keep me away from him because she was petty and angry that their relationship didn't work out. Meanwhile, Jane had a great job, a nice house, and helped my dad get back on his feet. She negotiated a visitation schedule with my mom, who did admittedly hate her for a long time, and made sure my dad sent us money every week because neither one of them could afford an attorney to negotiate child support payments. Okay, so Jane, very quickly here, is the MVP of this entire dynamic.
Jane is pulling everyone together.
Jane had no reason to do any of these things, but as I got older, she made it clear that she loved me as much as she loved my half-brothers, who were born a few years later. I even had my own room in her house because at the time we lived with my grandparents and various boyfriends of my mom, and Jane felt that I needed a more stable environment than that. She is like the opposite of the evil stepmom trope. When I was 15, Jane won a big lawsuit against an airline company and got awarded upwards of $1 million.
Oh,
wow. No wonder these airline tickets are getting so expensive, huh?
It's all going towards Jane.
It's all going to Jane's pocketbook. I'm just kidding. Jane, get your money up.
Get your money, girl.
She used the money to build sizable trust funds for me and my brothers so that we would be taken care of later in life. Jane is just the best.
Jane, we love ya.
Despite having a lot more money, she still wanted to live a fairly modest life. So she paid off the house she has and has been living there ever since with my dad. Sure, she bought a new car and they went on a few nice vacations, but she didn't blow all her money on stupid things, which I respected. About a year ago, things started getting really weird. Whenever I saw Jane, she seemed to look sicker and sicker, but no one would tell me or my brothers why, even though I knew they all knew. All we knew was that she was at the hospital a lot.
Oh
This
my
is
gosh.
awful news.
How old was OP in all of this?
It's like 16, 17.
That's old enough to tell them?
Yeah.
Come on.
Around this same time, my mom started coming around my dad a lot more and acting really strange. Basically, like she was trying to romance him. Whenever Jane was in the hospital, my mom would insist on spending the night at their house and playing mom to my brothers, which was so weird to me because she never liked them or Jane. She'd be the perfect little housewife, and my mom is not like that at all. It was super fake. Worst of all, my dad started falling for it. I'm not stupid. I'm pretty sure they were sleeping together. I tried to shield my brothers from it, but they're not dumb either. I tried talking to my dad too, but he insisted it wasn't like that. Then, a few weeks ago, my mom started talking about all the places she'd like to visit, how she wanted a new car and was looking to invest, which was weird because my mom had been a bartender her whole life and has lived paycheck to paycheck since before I was born. She was acting like she was about to get a lot of money, which started to make me really suspicious. Between Jane being sick and my mom acting all nouveau riche, I had a lot of questions. Finally, I decided to visit Jane in the hospital and ask her about my trust fund. I found out that if anything happened to her, my dad would inherit all the money, including full control of the trusts for me and my brothers. She asked me why I was so interested in the trust fund, so I told her what was going on with my parents and how my mom had been acting with my dad. I didn't want to, but after everything she did for me, she deserved the truth. It really hurt me to break her heart like that, especially once I found out that she was basically in hospice at this point because of irreversible kidney failure.
Oh my gosh. That is terrible.
It's so awful.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry, OP. That's terrible, terrible, terrible situation to be dealing with.
Ooh.
Apparently, she's only got a few more months. We both cried so much. Then, 2 days ago, everything came to a head. My mom stormed in, furious, and started arguing with my dad. Apparently, Jane had met with her lawyer and changed the trust so that my dad would get nothing, and all of the trust would be controlled by my step-aunt. She demanded to know how Jane found out about their relationship, and I came out and told them that I told Jane everything. I told them that if they wanted to play stupid games, they would win stupid prizes, and that I wasn't going to let them screw Jane over after all the help she gave my family when she didn't have to.
Boom.
My mom gave me a smack, and my dad just looked so defeated. Sorry, but your mom is a garbage bag.
Yeah, she really just nailed that in with a little...
For her to be acting like this after Jane went out of her way to not only help you, her daughter, but her to have a relationship with you, a co-parenting relationship that would be, copacetic for everyone involved in the family. It's just such a trash move.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not to mention that those trusts are made for the kids, not your mom. Your dad and your mom were just going to take that money and use it for fun.
Right.
They deserved to have the rug pulled out from under them.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, OP was right. When play stupid games, win stupid prizes. They had it all set up for them, and then they just messed it up, and then are mad at everyone else for that. It's like, guys, what are you doing?
You got to own it.
Own it.
You messed up.
God.
You were being bad people.
Bad.
Ugh. Then my mom told my dad that she didn't really love him, that she was just pretending so that he would marry her and she could get all of the money. Well, at least she came out and said it and stopped wasting everyone's time.
Cool.
The worst part about this is that my brothers witnessed the whole thing, and now on top of their mom passing away, they have to deal with a cheating dad and his vindictive ex-wife. Our whole family is in ruins, and I feel like it's my fault, even though I know it's not. Yesterday, I visited Jane again and told her about the fallout. She apologized and said that she had to dissolve my trust fund to make sure my mother didn't get a hold of the money, but that as her oldest, I will inherit the house and property after she's gone, and that's worth more than the other 2 trust funds combined. My father won't get anything because she's going to divorce him before she passes away, and honestly, I'm happy for her. She made me promise to take care of my brothers and told me that once I turn 18 this summer, I can get my dad out of the house legally if I want to. And I fully plan to do that, by the way. I haven't talked to my dad since, and I can't even look at my mom. I can't believe they would conspire to do this to Jane after all this time. It's just proof that they deserve each other, and I'm embarrassed that they're my parents. I'm sorry, OP. This is such a rough situation.
Yeah.
But we don't have to let our parents define us. That is the truth. There's truth in that. Once I turn 18, I'm going to cut my dad out as much as I can and cut my mom out completely. Personally, I hope she rots. Meanwhile, I'm going to try to be at the hospital as much as I can until Jane passes away. I just needed to vent. I'm really messed up about the whole thing, and I feel super betrayed, although I can't even begin to imagine how Jane feels. I'm going to be so messed up when she passes. I can't even think about that right now, though, but at least she's not surrounded by people who just want to bring her down. My plan is to use some of the estate money to fight for guardianship of my twin brothers so that they can live in the house while I remove my dad. From what I understand, my brothers will inherit 1/3 each of the estate, and the remaining 1/3 will be used to keep the house running until they turn 18. After that, it will be up to me if I want to keep the house or sell it. Jane dissolved my third and switched it over to take care of the house maintenance and instead put the house in my name so my dad wouldn't get it. By doing that, at least financially, I would be getting a much bigger share because the house is worth about 1.5 times the amount of money in my brother's trusts. I just wouldn't be able to do anything with it until my brothers are 18, which I'm totally cool with. And there is an update, and I feel like we did have some comments being like, is there poison?
Yes.
I don't know.
Some people were wondering.
I would be suspicious given how they're moving. Yeah, if that is the case, horrific.
Absolutely.
But
I hope not.
I think you're on the right track, OP. I think I would definitely look into therapy.
For sure.
I'm not sure exactly what specialized kind of therapy you would want to get into, but definitely the grief of losing Jane and then everything going on with your family. I think maybe like a therapist who specializes in toxic parents would be pretty helpful for you.
Or grief, something, just all of that. Yeah, that's just so complicated. Because grief is just hard in general. But if this is basically like your best parent, you know?
Right.
Then it's like, oh, well, I'm too young to know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
There's an update, though, and let's get into it. Hi, guys. It's me again. A lot of you asked me for an update on my situation with Jane and my family, so I've come back with a few things that have happened since I initially posted. Jane is still alive.
Oh.
Phenomenal, and doing surprisingly well considering the circumstances. She's always been a fighter, and although her disease has been progressing, she's keeping a positive attitude with everything that's going on. She says she's grateful that she was able to see everyone's true colors before she passed so she could go into the next life knowing the truth. We have become so unbelievably close in the past few months, and it's getting harder and harder to know that she's getting close to the end. She doesn't ever talk about it, though, and I know it's because she doesn't want to hurt me, but we both know the situation. So we're just making the best of our time. We did end up having that surprise celebration of life that I planned. A lot more people showed up than I thought, but they all got an Airbnb near the hospital where Jane is, and we were able to take her out and spend some time at the lake near the facility. It was super low key, which I know Jane preferred, and I was even able to get her old college friend to come after I found him on LinkedIn. We had food, there was music, we played games, and it was overall a really great time, except Jane started crying at the end, but she promised me it was just because she was grateful.
Oh, this is so sad.
Yeah, but you silver lining, you did absolutely crush the celebration of life.
Yeah.
Tears of
Yeah.
sadness and joy and appreciation and just an overwhelming thing to experience, I'm sure.
Right.
My brothers are also doing okay. My aunt, Jane's sister, is currently paying for them to go to therapy, and they've become a lot more open about talking about the situation. They just turned 13, but a lot of the time it feels like I'm talking to actual adults. They've become really independent lately, and aside from me driving them places, I don't really have to do much for them anymore. Their grades aren't super great, but they're not failing, and considering the circumstances, it could be a lot worse. The situation with my mom is as funny as it is embarrassing. She spent a few weeks ignoring us, and then she tried to crawl back into my life, basically begging me to let her move in because her lease is about to expire and she has nowhere to go. That convo went about as well as you'd think, and she ended up calling me an ungrateful witch and said I couldn't just ignore her because she's my mom. Watch me, though.
Yeah. Says who? Says who?
Watch me ignore you. Good luck figuring it out. You can't leech all of Jane's goodness out of me. If anyone's my real mom, it was her.
Yep.
And yeah, Awesome Ashley says, trigger warning, sad.
Sad. Yeah.
I told her to get out of the house before I call the cops and to go back to my dad. After that, she tried coming by a few times, and when I wouldn't open the door, she would lose her mind and start yelling through the neighborhood. After 3 instances of this, I finally called the cops, but because I'm 17, they told me there's a possibility that I would have to go home with her since technically I'm a minor and need to be with the custodial parent. I told them no way, because I was the only one watching my brothers. My dad basically showed up, and I was allowed to stay there because there was finally an adult present, and I'd basically lived there for over a year. I gotta say, that's rich that the cops are like, so I know you called us to get your mom out of the house, but now you actually have to go with her.
Yeah, that's insane.
The most backwards situation.
Yeah, just because you're not technically 18 yet.
After that, the cops firmly told my mom that if she keeps showing up and causing drama, they would arrest her for trespassing since technically it was Jane's house and not hers. She left and hasn't tried coming to the house anymore, but for a while she would call me constantly, telling me I owed her and all kinds of stuff. She's now blocked on everything, and anything she needs to say to me gets filtered through my dad. As for my dad, well, since he's basically required to be here for another 2 months until I turn 18, we've been essentially avoiding each other. It's not too bad, though, because I've been heavily relying on guilting him for everything to get my way. For example, he was going to contest the divorce, but I threatened to just evict him when I turned 18 if he did that. So he just signed all the paperwork for a quickie divorce and is basically doing whatever Jane tells him to do. I don't openly disrespect him or anything. He is still my dad, but I've made it clear that I have no intentions of doing anything he says ever again, and he doesn't fight me on it. Most of the time, he's just in his room, and sometimes he'll go back to my mom's, but only for a day or two before they argue and she boots him out again. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with him yet, and we haven't talked about it either, so I'm kind of playing it by ear. As for me, I'm handling everything as good as I can. I found a new job where I make a little more money, so I've been focusing on saving as much as I can and just being there for my brothers. Between working, school, and visiting Jane, I've been so busy, I haven't really had time to stop and think about everything. But I know it'll come. One of my friends has really stepped up and helped me manage everything, and I'm super grateful to him for being there for me and my brothers, so we'll see how that goes. And there's a second update.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think regardless of what happens, I'm getting my dad out of that house as soon as I turn 18.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
As soon as you can. Yeah, because it's technically Jane's house, but it will be yours.
I just think after everything Jane did, not only to help you, but also your father and your mom, it's just like their behavior is so utterly disgusting. It's time for them to learn the hard way.
Yes.
It's like, hey, you're going to have to figure out how to exist without any help now.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to use any of Jane's assets to help you when you were so easily able to betray her. Not only just betray her and cheat on her with your ex-wife, but do it while she was literally in hospice.
Yeah.
It's just disgusting.
Yeah. It's an insane situation. People were saying that OP could file for emancipation, possibly. Someone is asking, how do you file for emancipation with no financial resources?
There's only a couple months left, I think, just, toughen out the next 2 months till you're 18.
Yeah.
And then the house gets transferred to you.
Yeah, that is a good point. I forgot about emancipation, though. But yeah, just hope you can hang in there.
Yes. Update number 2. Hello, everyone. It's me again. I've gotten quite a few messages in the past months asking for an update. So I'm going to post my final update here and hope that it's enough to answer the questions everyone's been asking. As many of you may already assume, Jane passed away early fall of this year. It was very traumatic and sudden, but the silver lining is that she exceeded every doctor's expectation for her life. And when she did go, she was surrounded by family, including me, my brothers, and my dad. She was on palliative care and felt no pain except for a brief moment right at the end, and we are all very grateful for that. Towards the end, Jane was physically pretty much done, but her mind was as sharp as ever. I took the advice of many of you here and recorded some voice notes for my brothers. She also wrote many letters for her friends, family, and even for me to open when I reached certain milestones.
Aww.
She gave me one to open right away after she passed, and while I won't share too many details, I can say with absolute certainty that she is and forever will be who I consider my mother, without question. It was very, very emotional for everyone, and although it's been a few months, I am still very heartbroken about her no longer being with us. She was a kind, gentle woman, and in my heart, she is who I aspire to be. Yeah. I think one thing about grief is that it doesn't ever go away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like,
especially someone like that in your life.
It just changes. The way that you interact with it, the
Mm-hmm.
way that you interface with the grief that you carry changes over time. And it becomes maybe not easier, but less oppressive. And I got to give all the props in the world to OP for handling it the way that you are at your age.
Taking care of your brothers. She's so young. She's so young.
You were put in a very unfair, very difficult position. And I don't think anyone could ever say that you haven't handled it with flying colors.
Yep.
Given all of the circumstances.
Absolutely.
OP says, my brothers are obviously very hurt about our mom passing away. But just like before, they are taking it surprisingly well. And I hope that they still continue that therapy. They are still going to therapy, both together and separately. And we have a lot of conversations whenever they feel like talking. We've always been close, but I feel like we're closer now. Even though I work, we hang out as often as we can. And I'm doing everything I can to be the support that they need. They don't know it, but I definitely need them as much as they need me, because they're the only ones I can really talk to about anything. Now that the quote-unquote family glue is gone, we're pulling together stronger than before. My dad and I mended fences, so to speak. We went to a few therapy sessions together where he took full responsibility for his behavior, and I've forgiven him as much as I can, especially since he eventually started doing everything he could to be there for Jane at the end, even though they still went through with the divorce. He's still living with us, and things are a little tense, but they're much better than before. He's my dad, and I love him, but he was also broken by Jane's condition, and he wasn't able to cope in a healthy manner. Her passing really brought some light into his eyes, so to speak, and now he's really stepping up to be the man he was supposed to be. A lot of people commented saying too little too late, but again, he's my dad, and for my own mental health, I have chosen to forgive him. That is the biggest mature move you can make, is realizing that even if, in our lives, these, situations, and it's not every situation deems forgiveness,
Sure.
but like for our own
Yeah.
peace and for our own mental well-being.
Yeah.
Sometimes finding forgiveness is the best thing we can do.
Yeah. Especially after a tragedy like this, too.
Yes.
And with family. I feel like that's kind of like in a lot of situations, especially this one, it's like, yeah, even if they have been crappy in the past, then it's like, well, you're family. And it's obviously that's not always just a thing to bring you closer to someone, but it makes it a lot easier to forgive sometimes. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and as long as you're doing it for yourself too, that's great.
Yeah, being able to see that that's the long-term good move for you.
Yep.
It's brilliant. OP continues, my bio mom pretty much vanished off the face of the earth when I turned 18. She tried a few times to convince me to let her live with us, but I wasn't having any of it. Even my dad told her he is officially done with her. And after we all blocked her on everything, she stopped reaching out. She doesn't have any relatives who talk to her, so I don't have to worry about that. But I did hear from people who follow her on Facebook that she has a new boyfriend that she's living with. I don't want to stalk her or anything. I really don't care. She hasn't come to me with any kind of apology, so we'll leave it at that. It's a little hard for me to think that she'd just walk away the second I turned legal just because she didn't get any of Jane's money, but oh well. True colors and all that. I guess 18 years was too long to pretend to care. I'm just so angry with her. I don't want anything to do with her anymore. Maybe that will change one day, but I'm not holding my breath. As for me, I'm doing pretty okay. I decided to take a year before I start college to handle all of this, and I'm still at my same job, so I'm saving up money wherever I can. And by the way, we've been saving up a mountain of full episodes with stories like this one you can listen to on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime, and you can listen to over 76 days worth of stories.
That's a whole lot of days.
And I think we've kind of coalesced our thoughts.
Yeah.
Do we have anything to finish it off here, Angie, Keon?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're doing everything right. I think taking that year off is a great idea.
Yeah.
Before going into college.
100%. Especially,
Great
you know,
idea.
taking care of your brothers and stuff. That's
Yes.
huge.
Yes.
Okay. My friends have all been great supporters, and I'm so grateful for everyone who has been checking in on me and making sure I'm okay. I'm taking things one day at a time, and that's been working great to keep me focused. My goal is to go to college next year and study journalism, but I'm playing it by ear. I can always go back to school, but right now my family needs me, and if that takes longer than a year, then so be it. Thank you, everyone. This will be my last update, and I very much appreciate all the love and support you've shown our family. Jane, I know, was very grateful for all of you too, and all I can say is hold your loved ones tight and be careful of anyone who seems too good to be true. Much love and blessings to you all. We have some comments right here just to finish it up. Hill Mickelson says, who has control over the money Jane left for her children? Does your father have access to it? Is it possible that his attitude only changed because he's expecting to gain access to the money Jane left? He might still be secretly involved with your bio mom and only pretending to change his behavior as a way to get closer to Jane's money, which is a good point. If he ever brings up the money again,
Yeah.
then you know for a fact that's really all he's looking for.
Right.
OP replies, for a while I did honestly think this. However, shortly after Jane passed, I found out he was looking into apartments to move into. When I confronted him about it, he said that he was trying to be respectful and assumed I wouldn't want to have anything to do with him, so he was preparing just in case. I think the fact that he wasn't parading his plan around in front of me to try and get brownie points says a lot. That and the fact that he's been very involved in our therapy gives me a lot of hope. I understand a lot of people have had bad experiences, but like I've been saying, my dad isn't a bad person. He's just stupid. But that is the end of that story.
My stepfather insulted me and my husband behind our backs, so we retaliated.
With kindness?
Tried to translate it as best I could, but the word pig does not mean a literal pig. In the context it was used, I think what my stepdad meant was the bourgeoisie, or capitalist pig, and used it as a double entendre in reference to body fat. My stepdad has been with my mother for about 5 years now. I was an adult before they met. We are not that close, but have a cordial relationship, or so I thought. By the way, this comes from Just Want Cuddles, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Dakota.
And I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, my husband and I were invited to a small impromptu dinner party. My husband was sick, so I initially made our apologies, but afterwards he encouraged me to go, even though what I truly wanted was to play nurse for him. These dinner parties happen with regularity, and my husband is far more important anyway. However, he encouraged me and said it would be good for me to go, so I did. I arrived a little late and didn't immediately announce my presence. I stood in the entryway arranging myself and overheard the talk from the dinner table. I heard my husband's name mentioned. This was rude, but I was curious what was going to be said while they thought I wasn't listening, so I took my time next to the door. The question about our absence was casually directed to my mother, and my stepdad cut in with the line in the title. He said exactly, yes, where is the pig and his dumb little see you next Tuesday? There was some chuckles, and my mother answered, your son-in-law is sick, in a mildly chastising tone. She then turned the topic to something else. I decided to leave. I nearly cried in the back of the car, but stayed composed until I got home. My mother's reaction was the most hurtful. I would have expected a far harsher reaction than she gave. This suggests to me that this happens with some regularity. My mother doesn't defend me when I'm called a dumb little see you next Tuesday. She doesn't defend me. She doesn't defend my husband when he's called a pig. She acts as if someone made an inappropriate noise at the dinner table. Should I tell my husband? I'm a little afraid of his subsequent actions if I do. He has helped specific family members that were not at the dinner party and could take that all away on a whim. I need to tell him, but I don't want him to punish people that weren't at the party. My husband will be very angry at them, but I still need to tell them. Then there is my relationship with my family. I've been trying to think how this could mean something else. I've been trying to twist it into a term of endearment, and I can't. This was cruel. I feel used by those I loved most. They hid their feelings while we were around. And top relevant comments. But before we get into those, do you have any top and relevant comments of your own?
Nothing really beyond what I've already said. You should have burst in through the door and said, Hey, you have some choice words for me, I hear.
Yeah, I heard my ears were ringing.
What about a Tuesday?
Or is it my ears are burning?
I heard
something like that.
Tuesday was involved a lot.
Yeah, just
next Tuesday.
Hey,
what about that?
Who we talking about? Huh?
Yeah.
Who we talking about?
we gossiping. Deleted says, tell your husband he has the right to know. If family members are dependent on him and talking behind his back, he should know about it. Do you think so little of your husband that he would punish people in need because they are related to someone who badmouthed him once? What about when you have children and they go visit their grandmother? Will your children learn to call you a dumb C word behind your back? There's no good reason for that type of name calling, especially when the person isn't around. You don't need two-faced like father-in-law in your life. Tell your husband, and then you and your husband can confront your mother, demand an apology, and minimize contact with mom and father-in-law for a while. OP says, I think the world of my husband, but he is a very fierce man when it comes to people who don't respect him and me. I know I need to tell him. Jin Baitai says, my man is exactly the same, protective and unforgiving of people he feels have disrespected me. Himself too, but it's a whole other level when I'm involved. All I can say is you need to let him vent and be angry, and then ask him to have a game plan with you. His loyalty should help you come up with a compromise that you both can live with. Clamdelicus says, my initial reaction was you should have walked in and said, the dumb little C word is right here. Picked up a drink from the table and thrown it in his face. Seriously, OP, you have to tell your husband. Tell him exactly what you told us. He deserves to know. Let him be part of the decision on how to proceed. And Burning Cake for Fun says, yes, the classic soap opera ending. A fantastic choice. June Gloom says he has helped specific family members that were not at the dinner party and could take that all away on a whim. I think this is where the pig thing is coming from. For some people, your success and help just makes them feel inferior, and they're resentful of you as being the cause of those feelings. So they cut you down when you aren't around. Instead of taking responsibility for their own life choices or being secure in themselves and happy for you, they'd rather drag you down in some crab bucket mentality. They don't have your best interests at heart. They only want to drag you down to feel better about themselves. It may be the healthiest thing for your relationships not to help if they aren't the kind of people who can deal with it. They're not happy, and you're just losing respect from people you previously had a better relationship with. And there is an update. Any other thoughts?
I'm just thinking about the crab bucket reference now because I hadn't heard that.
It's like
before,
when you got a bunch of crabs in a bucket and they're going to drag each other.
And then when the crab tries to get out, the rest of the crabs say,
I was going to say, who says that a lot?
Down here with me.
Is Riley.
Riley says that all the time.
That's like
crab
Riley's
bucket?
Yeah, he says it all the time.
He's like, oh, crab in a bucket. He's always saying it.
I've never heard Riley say that.
That's
Am I
a lie.
crazy?
He says it all the time.
He says it all the time. Maybe you just don't listen to Riley.
Yeah.
Someone make a compilation.
I think,
I do
your
water.
husband should know what was said about you.
Agreed.
The people
And
who
him.
said that stuff about you should know that you heard it and
Agreed.
be like, hey, so y'all are weird and I'm not going to be hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, if you think that about me, then why would I be around you? Update. I told my husband about this earlier this morning. I did it carefully, making sure to tell him that I didn't know exactly who was there other than a few names, and ensuring that he knew a few specific people were definitely not there. My husband is a very deliberative person. He sat and listened to everything I had to say without showing any emotion. It's hard to talk to him sometimes about difficult things because of this, but I got through it. He asked me a few questions, making sure that I was completely sure on every detail. Then he told me to fetch his phone, and I did. He made several calls, called various people, and over the next 30 minutes, 3 of my family members lost their jobs, 2 lost their apartments, or will be losing them as soon as the law allows. He only punished people who were guaranteed to be at the dinner party or directly related to those who were. He did not punish my big sister, who I was worried about the most, or people who couldn't have been involved. Afterwards, he told me that he would not tell me to cut contact with my family, but that he will not be seeing them until we receive a written apology from everyone who was at the party. He said I can handle my family as I like. I mean, I think he handled them. I thanked him and told him that I would not be seeing them either until that happened. Whilst I was helping my husband dress for work, my mother called, but my husband waved it off and told me to keep her waiting because she'll call again. He said I don't know her promptness and that keeping her waiting shows her I have the power. She called many times in succession afterwards, but I only answered after my husband was dressed and I had seen him to the car. She told me in a frantic voice that person A had lost a job and wondered what happened or if there was anything my husband could do. I'm glad my husband had me wait because I had a formulated response. I told her that my husband had person A, B, and C fired. I didn't tell her why. She went silent for a bit and finally asked, why, in an odd tone. I just told her that I heard what my stepdad said at the party. I told her that my husband and I expect written apologies from everyone at the dinner party.
Dude, you made people lose their jobs before you even were like, hey, we heard what happened.
Why did you say
sorry.
that? Who said? You guys are crazy. Genuinely, you guys are crazy.
I'd have a problem with my partner if they did this.
Genuinely, I'd be
That's
like,
an overreaction.
If one of my family members said something against me, and, I'd be like, that's really awful. I'm going to go talk to them and be like, why would you say that? Why would you say that about me and my partner when we're not there?
Those are words. You're like, what you're doing is genuinely affecting the fabric of people's lives.
Also, I'm sorry, you don't want a real apology. You want them to grovel.
You want them to be like punished.
You want them to
justice.
beg for mercy.
This guy's a vigilante.
Basically being in like
crazy.
a TV show or a film where you're like, oh yeah, I want them to feel bad, but like not ruin their life kind of thing, or like get an apology. You ruin these people's lives, and I feel like you can't undo that.
You can't.
I have to.
Say sorry. What? They get their apartment back?
I want to clarify because
we have
Ace makes it on Twitch. Comment. Got to disagree with Dakota on it being okay since the people being talked about weren't there. It's not that it's okay. It's that the level of reaction from other people there isn't going to necessarily going to be like, okay, well that was unacceptable, and I'm leaving this instant. It was like
sometimes I feel like when someone says something, like if I was talking to, like let's say Dakota wasn't there and I said something out of pocket about Dakota.
He's stinky.
Keon, like I feel like you might be like, hey, that's not very nice, but you wouldn't necessarily have the same reaction as like it's uncomfortable to call someone out.
Nah, Sophia.
Yeah.
Did Dakota make fun of you? I'm gonna go scorched earth.
Yeah, you go scorched
His
earth.
bloodline.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. Especially if you like.
And
if
this
you're
was,
not
to
as
be
close
clear,
to that person.
not like a group bashing session.
No, it was
like
one person made a comment.
One guy
said
it, and then her mom was just like, "Oh, don't do that."
Yeah, which that's not okay.
Yeah.
But to like then say that everyone at that party is complicit is kind of crazy.
Yeah, three people shouldn't be losing their jobs
and apartments. That's crazy.
How do you have the power to do that?
Yeah.
It's wild.
Ace Makes It does say, if someone's trashing me in conversation and my people are not saying anything, they're not my people, which is fair.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I think like we don't know how close all these people at the party were, their family, but are they like I just think there's a different level of reaction that you'll have when the person's not in the, like I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's
which is, like obviously you would still want your friends to defend you, but I'm saying they shouldn't lose their job. They probably didn't necessarily agree.
I feel like
I think it's the point.
The
it's
proper
not like,
way to go about it is just like, hey, you guys suck, calling them out and be like, you're not our friend, or you're not OP's friend.
Yeah.
And the person who said it, guess what? You suck and you should apologize. That's it. And if they're like, no, I'm not gonna apologize, then you're like, you know what?
It's like, I did you a favor. I can take that favor away.
It's the I don't get mad, I get even kind of thing. But this was not even.
This is not even. This is like you kicked me in the shins, so I burned down your house. A long silence followed, so long that I nearly hung up, but my mother did it first. This was a confusing reaction. I think she was too ashamed to speak, but it could also be that she doesn't care. I'll wait. The need to reach out to us with an apology is on them if they're interested in continuing our family ties. I am at peace about this. And top relevant comments, Evil Buddha says, if you live in China, I can understand the response. People in relatively high positions can make the lives of family miserable if they show disrespect. OP says, you're right. I know it's not the same way in Western countries. Evil Buddha says, I agree, it's not the same in Western countries, and folks here have to understand that the culture in China is way different. Stuff like this happens in China. Question, did your husband help your family members in getting jobs and housing? Makes me wonder how he was able to get them all fired and evicted just like that. OP says, yes, he did help them get the jobs and housing, good jobs and preferred housing, which can be very hard to get. And OP says, my husband was kind at all times. It may be that they resented him for his help. He asked me what I thought should happen. I told him I was very upset. He makes the decisions after consulting me, but this was disrespectful to him just as much as me. Thank you for your explanation. I understand why this might be shocking in that case. When I said helped in my first post, I meant jobs and preferred housing. Deleted says, what the heck? Why would your husband get people fired? As far as I read in your last post, they didn't even have anything to do with what your stepdad called you. They were just there. This seems like a huge overreaction on his part, where you guys could have just gone and confronted your stepdad, not F up people's living situations and their jobs. That's crazy. OP says, I think it might be cultural. Often when someone does something poorly, it's part of our culture to judge the family as well. Also, they laughed.
I don't know, dude. I've given an uncomfortable laugh more than once.
Also, they laughed.
Someone says something, you go, haha, yeah.
Dude, this is actually...
And then like 20 minutes later, they leave the room and you're like, okay, so that was the weirdest thing
that
you've
you're
ever
like,
heard, right?
You're right.
Why would they do that? That's
yes,
crazy.
because you don't know how to talk. Like, sometimes
Right.
you're in a... Like, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have stood up for OP and her husband, but there are some times where you just feel so uncomfortable that you don't know how to address it. AB Eterno says, I am genuinely curious, and I'm sorry if I come across as naive in this question, but what would the proper etiquette in China be in this situation? For example, what if it was you and your husband at your aunt's house and dinner table? Your aunt's husband makes this rude comment about the person who gave your husband his job, who is your cousin's husband, her daughter's spouse, and not present. Should you say anything? Would you speak up out of loyalty for your employer? Or would you not say anything out of politeness for the host, who is also your family? What is correct in this situation in China? OP says, of course I will answer, and no, you do not come across as naive. I think first, understand that there are no individuals in China. I'm not a single person. I belong to my husband. I belong to my family. Those units are more important than me alone. I think there is no correct response for this. Would there be a correct response for this in a Western country? I think it was incredibly rude, and that crosses cultural barriers. The shock in this thread is that my husband punished everyone, yes? Here we return to the fact that no one is an individual in China. You see my stepdad as an independent individual who made this decision. My husband and I see him as a part of a larger group, in this case his family unit and those others at the dinner party. They all allowed this disrespect to stand by not acting. I think the correct response would have been for everyone at the dinner party to banish my stepdad. Whoa.
What, doesn't he live there?
Yeah. Yes, I think, wasn't he the one that was throwing the party?
Oh, man. Well, really quick, we got 20 more
Woo!
new babies that
20
live
babies.
here
Purple
on the
Trader.
stream, thanks to Purple Trader.
And we're going to hit that wheel spin after this story.
Donated 20 gifted memberships.
They should have collectively shown him that what he did was wrong. Social harmony is very important. I hope that this makes sense. Fire Dawn says, I'm from Taiwan, living in America, and I completely understand your husband's response. Trust is difficult to come by in China. And if your husband is in a position of financial power, then he is in a position a lot of people are willing to suck up to just to get something out of him. He is 100% correct to cut his financial and personal connection with people he cannot trust. Most others in this sub will not understand the cultural implications of this, but trust is everything in a workplace situation in Chinese culture, because of the possibility of backstabbing and betrayal. You do your thing, OP, and don't let all these naysayers in the post sway you. And there is a second update. I guess I just can't understand this because I have such a different cultural upbringing.
I don't know. It's
I guess I can't like give a proper,
He had to have known what he was messing with, I guess, then, by saying that.
I feel like if there is that cultural background, then
Didn't think you were at the
shouldn't have done
door.
that. Probably
yeah.
shouldn't have done that.
Well, I would be living in fear every day of my life.
For all of my family members. Like, I'm like, don't say anything about anyone, guys. But there's a second update. My husband has received several written apologies from those who were at the party, but not from my stepdad or my mother. I think it is correct to say now that they are not going to apologize. I talked to my mother again a few days after my second comment for a brief moment. She prostrated herself in front of me verbally, but she will not give us a written apology. She is supporting her husband over her daughter. I hung up on her as her apology was hollow in many ways, despite how deeply she spoke. Those who have apologized have said that these insults were not uncommon, but no one other than my stepdad engaged in them. My husband believes them and blames my stepdad. My stepdad later lost his job as a result of his words. My husband could not punish him immediately because of his position. I'm feeling okay. It hurt me after the second conversation with my mother, where I realized she would not apologize. I am trying to make peace with it, but it has been hard. My husband has done things to cheer me up. He bought me a puppy. I need to feel this over a period of time, if that makes sense. I just, again, I want to go back because OP says her mom didn't apologize, but she literally said she prostrated herself in front of us verbally. So she did apologize. She just didn't apologize in the way that you wanted. But there's a little bit left to this. Again, I don't think that I have the cultural, knowledge to accurately make a judgment on this. I think it is very different to how I would react and act in this situation.
Wild to me that there was no investigation on the front end. Instead, it was just like, I'm going to immediately take 3 jobs and 2 apartments away.
Yeah. And not even from the person that did it either.
Right.
Like, he didn't even immediately lose his job.
This is scary. You're married to a scary guy.
I also, if anyone has more cultural knowledge about this, because I know some of you in the comments were already kind of speaking up about it, let us know what you think about this.
Yeah, a lot of people, again, a lot of people were people were saying in Chinese dramas or K-dramas that this happens more frequently than we think. It's not, we're not used to it. But for them, this is probably that's the norm.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you in the Philippines, if this happened, especially with a barangay captain or a cop captain or something like that, it'd be the same thing.
Yeah.
It'd be like, all right, well, you did that to my wife, so you're on bad terms with us.
You are now jobbing.
Pretty much.
Dang. There's a little bit left to the story. OP says, I agree the letter is a formality, but an important one, I think. My mother's words were hollow, though. I'm not sure I have the words to describe this. She apologized, but defended and dismissed at the same time. That's why I hung up. Last leader says, your mom sounds like you in a lot of way. Both of you stand behind your husbands no matter what, and let them make all the decisions. This is between your husband and your stepdad. Your mom won't be able to apologize until your stepdad allows her to. This is one of those times that being old-fashioned and doing what your husband tells you to do is pretty stupid. I mean, both you and your mom, both of you are letting men ruin your mother-daughter relationship. These updates sadden me to see all the unwise decisions and ego continuing on both sides. I hope someday this will change. OP says, my husband did not force me to cut ties with my family. I chose not to forgive my mother because her apology was hollow. Her words were empty. Silmaril says, I think it's refreshing to see someone posting to this Reddit with such a clear idea of their boundaries and acting on them when they are violated. Certainly acted upon. We always encourage people to find their boundaries and learn to back them up when they face crises in relationships. And here is an example of a couple who have very clearly defined boundaries and are doing something about it when they got disrespected. The husband was clearly taking care of a lot of people in this family and would feel deeply hurt and disrespected to learn that these same people were witness to the offensive things said about him behind his back and not stopping it or standing up for him. I 100% agree with his decisive actions, and while I feel sorry for OP's mother, who is trapped between daughter and husband, I think OP's husband was still within his moral rights to act as he saw fit in this case. OP, I wonder if you would act differently than your mother did, though. Would you go against your husband if he ever behaved badly towards someone in the family? Or would you have his back, even when he was wrong? Your mother has apologized to you in the only way that she can without making open conflict with her husband. Can you understand her at all? Maybe you can forgive her eventually. Smacksaw says, your mother has apologized to you. in the only way she can without making open conflict with her husband. Oh, wait, that's continuing. I think you make a great point responding to that commenter. Not just there, but the whole post. But that part is framed incorrectly. She isn't making open conflict with her husband. The husband is making open conflict with her. By not standing up to him, she is being an enabler. She is giving him tacit permission to continue. Is it unfair she's in the middle of this, along with the people who got fired? Yes. In life, when unfair things happen to you, though through no fault of your own, character shows when you do the right thing. Absolutely no one did the right thing, and she still refuses to throw his mess back in his face. OP's stepdad is the one causing trouble. He's an ingrate piece of crap after all the problems he's caused and impossible scenarios he's created. To not back down and give her an out, F him. There's at least 3 to 4 other people like the mom who also need to save face. He isn't allowing them an out. She isn't choosing conflict. She's choosing to lose the conflict rather than fight for herself. OP's stepdad is a piece of crap to the highest order. Asian and Chinese society is about harmony and making decisions that benefit the group so that everyone wins. He is sacrificing the group for his own twisted sense of egotistical honor. And that is the end of that story.
My husband's stepbrother demanded that I apologize over a misunderstanding.
Girl, never apologize.
So a little backstory. I, 30 female, moved thousands of miles away from everything I've ever known to be with my husband, Liam, 27 male, in the UK. Adjusting to a new country, culture, and family has been a huge transition, and I've been doing my best to navigate it. By the way, this comes from user Sam2794, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
And I'm Savannah.
And we are here to give you good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. So if you would do something different, let us know in the comments. As OP says, recently, though, my husband's stepbrother has taken issue with me over something I honestly don't think was a big deal. But he's turned it into a huge thing and is now demanding an apology. Here's what happened. We attended a family gathering, and I kept my distance from Emma, 49 female, my stepbrother's sister-in-law, because at our first meeting, she made little comments that made me uncomfortable. I get that she's been in the family for 20 years and is cautious because she's been through a lot, at least from what I was told. But that doesn't give her the right to make jabs at me during our first interaction. She said to me, flailing her hands, "You belong on that side of the family," referring to my husband's biological mother and his father. So, at the second gathering, I simply chose to stay out of the way rather than engage in another situation where I might feel uncomfortable again. I wasn't rude, I wasn't confrontational, I just kept to myself. Well, apparently, that was unacceptable. According to my husband's stepbrother, Chris, 45 male, I was deliberately rude, disrespectful, and calculated because I didn't interact much with them. He even accused me of ignoring their 12-year-old son, which I didn't, and claimed I disrespected the hosts by eating their food without offering to help or saying a proper goodbye. For the record, I did say goodbye to people. I just wasn't overly engaging because I was trying to avoid any more uncomfortable situations. But instead of acknowledging that this might have been a simple misunderstanding, he has completely blown it out of proportion and put 100% of the blame on me, like I'm some kind of villain. Then, to make things even more ridiculous, Chris got upset over me referring to myself as a daughter-in-law of the house. To me, it was just a normal thing to say. I am married into the family. My husband's stepmother is who I consider my mother-in-law because she has given me love since day one, and that was my decision, and everyone was happy with it. So naturally, that makes me a stepdaughter-in-law. It wasn't meant as an insult to Emma, nor was I trying to take any title away from her, but Chris turned it into some huge sign of disrespect, acting like I was trying to challenge her place in the family and replace her with myself, which is absolutely not the case. I was just trying to be part of the family dynamic, not replace anyone. I always wanted to be part of a loving family with love and devotion. Now, Chris is basically demanding that I apologize, saying that respect is non-negotiable and that elders deserve it no matter what. I knew it. And look, I get respecting elders, but respect goes both ways. I'm not going to be forced into apologizing just to appease Chris and Emma, especially when they refuse to acknowledge that there was a misunderstanding or that Emma's behavior made me uncomfortable in the first place. He's acting like I committed some massive offense when all I did was try to navigate a situation that wasn't welcoming to me in the first place. Now, here's the cherry on top. My husband Liam is absolutely furious. He's spoken to my siblings and we are all on the same page that this whole situation is beyond ridiculous. He is 100% standing up for me, and when this call happens, he will firmly make it clear that no one will ever dictate or bully his wife again. If they have a problem, they can take it up with him. No more cornering me, no more forcing me into apologies that I don't owe, and no more trying to make me the scapegoat. Absolutely unacceptable. We are not having an in-person conversation where I get sat down like a child and lectured. If they want to talk, it's happening over video call or not at all, and that's final. I seriously don't get why some families act like new in-laws have to earn respect while the old ones can do whatever they want. Respect goes both ways, and I'm done playing nice with people who don't extend the same courtesy. And we have an update. We still have not had the call where my husband will be telling Chris, quote, "We are going to have a video call because we prefer to meet the next time in person and have a cordial interaction. We are busy with our own things and we have responsibilities, and video call is the only way we're going to have this conversation, or we're not going to have a conversation at all." I personally agree with this because I don't want to physically meet them. I know how I am, and my mental health is not very good, and I will get panicky if I do meet them in person. I'm not going to listen to Chris on how, when, or where we meet. You're not going to demand an apology and then keep putting the ball in your court, telling us how the conversation's going to go. It will feel overwhelming and make me really anxious. A video call would allow me to have some control over the situation and ease into things without feeling trapped or pressured. And I get where you're coming from, but again, like if you do meet them like at, a park or like, a coffee shop, you are also in control and you are not trapped because you can just get up and leave.
Yeah.
Just something to press ourselves maybe out of our comfort zone a little bit. It's important not to stay in your comfort zone perpetually. I don't want them dictating where, when, or how we meet, especially when I'm already uncomfortable about it. This way we can still connect, but on more neutral terms. And more details on what I want an apology for before I even think about doing it. During a recent family gathering, Chris took a small towel and started smacking my backside in front of everyone, completely disregarding boundaries and acting like it was all a joke.
Wait, the brother,
the law, the
brother man-in-law was slapping you with the towel?
That needs to be an immediate apology, and he needs to be checked. What are we talking about?
Yeah, what? Why did he think that's okay? Like, you didn't say hi to us and you didn't say goodbye to us, but I'm gonna slap you with a towel.
Like I said, dude, so these elders be acting a fool out here.
No, for real. Now I'm concerned.
Later, when I realized my dress tag was sticking out, my husband tried to fix it, but before he could, Chris snatched it out of his hand and ripped it, making sure I couldn't return it. That was my property, and he had no right to touch it, let alone destroy it. The tag was a complete mistake. The dress arrived the same day, and I got ready quickly, so I didn't even realize it was still there. I wasn't planning on returning it. I was just going to tuck it in and take it home, but instead of letting me handle it, he ripped it off himself, which was a huge sign of disrespect. It wasn't his place to touch my stuff at all.
Well, I
think we might be making that little molehill into a bit of a bigger thing than it was. I think him slapping your butt with the towel is a bigger deal.
I agree. I feel like the tag thing is just something that you're annoyed at. And just like, oh, he's also done this. But it's like, well, that's not the same level.
It is annoying, though. Think about it. It's like your like husband is like about to like, is like, oh, like, honey, can you take care of that tag? And he's like, gonna do it. And then this person just like lunges in and is like, yeah, like, and like snatches the tag and rips it. And it's just like, oh, like, what? Why did you do that?
I have actually learned not to rip the tags off of your clothes. You should cut them, because one time I ripped it and like a hole, like it put a hole in the shirt. I was like, what?
And
I was really sad. And then I couldn't return the hole. Well, just the hole. I couldn't return the shirt.
I would like to return the hole on this shirt.
Excuse me, I would like to return this hole.
Then, when my husband was booking flights for his father's gift to his wife, something he was specifically asked to handle, Chris inserted himself into the situation, sticking his nose where it didn't belong. The moment he saw the airline, Pegasus, he made a face and scoffed. Ugh, acting as if it wasn't good enough, even though it had nothing to do with him. As for Emma, she made her feelings clear when she rudely told me, "You belong on that side of the family," as if I were an outsider. When I casually referred to myself as the daughter-in-law of the house, she made a face, clearly uncomfortable with the title, completely avoiding eye contact and not wanting to get to know me at all. The thing is, I wasn't saying it to be malicious. I've only ever wanted to create a warm and loving bond with my in-laws. But unlike her, I didn't enter this family quietly and distantly. I embraced them with love just as they embraced me. And maybe that's exactly why she feels so challenged. Her mother had dementia for 10 years and passed away 2 years ago, which I empathize with. But that doesn't justify being disrespectful. My own father has cancer, and he has had it since 2018, but that doesn't mean that I'd be quiet and out of the way and not make a bond. All she had to do when she first saw me was say, "Oh my God, I'm Emma, I'm so excited to meet you." And I would have said, "Same here, I've heard so much about you," and that's it. Or even I'll start that convo, but she gave no vibe where I could talk to her that way. And we have a second update. Let's get into it, shall we? My husband and I both decided that I am not apologizing to Chris or Emma. They were disrespectful, and Emma had no interest in getting to know me. My mental health comes first, and it's not my job to make anyone feel better about their own bad behavior. My mother-in-law and her sisters are on our side. They agreed that Chris had no business inserting himself into this situation and that he completely crossed the line. Because of that, no one in the family is talking to him right now. Every time he tries to bring it up, my mother-in-law, Emily, immediately shuts him down. By the way, we'll never shut you down from listening to full episodes with stories just like this on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime. And you can listen to a whole, almost 3 months worth now at this point, worth of stories. 2.5. 2.5 at least.
Wow.
That's 24 times probably, 65? No, 75.
Big math brain over here.
Whoop, whoop. 24 times 75 hours. And we do have a little bit more story. Let's finish it off. As for Emily, she and Liam, my husband, have always respected each other, and she wants to keep us in her life. That is fine by me. I'm focusing on being there for Liam because he's a good husband, and I won't let unnecessary drama get in our way. In terms of Chris, he's facing the consequences of his actions. And now, if we run into Chris or Emma at the next family event, we won't be interacting with them at all. It's been a tough situation, but we're sticking to our boundaries, and I feel a lot better standing my ground. And that is the end of that story.
Wow. And I mean, it kind of worked out. So, but she didn't. So, OP, you never apologized, which I don't think you really needed to. I think he has to apologize for really weird things that he's done.
Agreed.
And then, yeah, and now you're just kind of, you set boundaries and you're gonna keep them, and that's all that you can do, really.
I think
you can only control yourself. So
we're in a great spot. We're in a great place. We got a great husband, and his mother-in-law is cool.
I planned a Halloween costume with my stepdaughters, and their mother lost it.
Well, it's just a fun Halloween, wasn't it?
I, 35 female, am the stepmother to 2 lovely 10-year-old twin girls who I adore. I have been married to their father, 38 male, for 5 years, and we dated for 2 years before that. I consider myself very close to them, and we always have fun whenever they stay with me and their father. By the way, this comes from Lisa of the Roses, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Angie.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. As OP says, they recently asked what kinds of movies I watched when I was their age, so it led me to digging out some old classics, most notably The Parent Trap. Of all the older movies I showed them, this one was their favorite. I think they loved seeing a movie about twins. They even delighted in the fact that, in their opinion, I look like Meredith Blake. It's the hair, I think. No way am I as gorgeous as Elaine Hendrick.
Oh, stop it. I'm sure you are.
I'm sure you are. It has become an inside joke for us, with me often putting on her voice and acting the part while they fall into hysterical giggles. My husband has even gotten into it, playing the clueless Nick when we get into this playful spirit. The girls are staying with us for Halloween. They alternate who has them on holidays, and whoever has them for Halloween is in charge of the costume. The girls asked if I would do a group costume with them. I was touched and told them, of course, and asked them what they wanted to do. I should have seen it coming. They wanted to do the Parent Trap, with them as the girls and me as Meredith. I found it harmless and agreed. My husband found it funny and said he'd even dress as Nick then. I got a call from their mother today telling me that she'd heard of the costume and that she didn't approve. She felt it wasn't appropriate. At first, I was touched and assumed she was worried about their stepmother being portrayed as a wicked gold digger. I told her it was fine, that it was just an inside joke that had sparked this idea. That wasn't the issue. She didn't think it was appropriate for me to do a group costume with her daughters at all, and that it was clearly lazy.
What?
She said I was forcing it, because why else would her daughters want to do a costume from an old movie?
Well, I don't know. Ask them. It was their choice.
Right.
Like,
maybe because they're twins, and it's a movie about twins.
they just happened to put on that movie and they liked it.
Yeah.
That's all.
I got rather upset, but tried to stay calm on the phone. I told her she might not approve, but it was harmless. And I'd been in the girls' lives for 7 years at this point. My husband, who was in the room during the call, could see I was getting upset. So he took the phone from me and began to get into it with his ex-wife. He told her that she could have all the issues she wanted, but it was an entirely proper costume for their age, and that it had been the girls who suggested it. He reminded her that it was up to him what they dressed as this year, and that he'd approved of it. I got him to calm down as he was getting upset, and the call ended rather tersely. I just feel awful about this whole thing, and I wonder if I should just bow out of matching the girls in costume if it will prevent further problems. I just know this will be a bigger thing down the line. What do you guys think? And we have some comments, but what do you think?
I mean, it's kind of up to the husband, I feel. Like, if he's chill with it, I don't think you should bow out at all. Like, you're legally their stepmother. Like,
it's 7 years in.
Yeah, it's
the
not
girls
like you're
are really
girlfriend.
excited.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I feel like she's just jealous that you guys have this bond and she doesn't. So
it's like, ex-wife, do you even remember the plot of that movie? He doesn't end up with Meredith.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
What are you so worried about?
Exactly.
And even if she was dressing up as a love interest, like,
it's like, it still works. Like,
she's being the villain though, girl. Get over it.
Come
on. Some of OP's comments. Final dirt, 5250, not the a-hole. The girl's mother isn't upset about the costume. She's upset that her daughters love you enough to want to do a group costume with you. This is 100% about her own jealousy and insecurity. Don't back down. The girls asked you, and it would hurt them if you pulled out now because their mom threw a fit. OP responds, I really don't want to back down. It means a lot to me that the girls asked me. I just worry that this could cause worse tension, which could be bad for the girls. I also hate that she feels jealous and insecure, as I think you're right there. I love the girls like they're my own, but I will never replace their mother. Designated Throwaway says, what do you value more? Making your husband's ex-wife happy, or making the 2 little girls you helped raise happy and creating an awesome memory with them? OP responds, obviously making them happy. It's not about making her happy exactly. It's more concern if I don't concede on this, it'll make things harder for the girls in the long term. Cherry Colored says, not the a-hole, but I'm curious when you say old movie. Do you mean the actually old one or the one with Lindsay Lohan? Because if we're calling the latter movie old, I'm gonna start shriveling up. Oh no. OP responds, the 1998 movie with Lindsay Lohan, I'm afraid. Trust me, I know how you feel, but to them, it's old. To another commenter. Oh, trust me, I dislike being called that too, but to 10-year-old girls, it's old. No! And OP is obviously voted not the a-hole. And we have an update a month later, which is after Halloween.
Oh, boys, we're going to see what happens.
We're going to know what happened.
Yeah,
How do you think it goes?
I hope that, here's what I really think is going to happen.
Okay, yeah.
I think mom is going to have a problem. She's going to be like, she's going to buy the kids a different costume, make them wear it. But then when they go over to dad's house, she's going to be like, okay, well, we're being Parent Trap,
yeah,
right?
Like, come on, obviously. Obviously, we're being Parent Trap.
Yeah, and then they're Parent Trap. And then the dad is like, bio mom, come on. And then she's like, okay. Word for word, I think that's going to happen. Yeah.
We're going to quote you on that.
Okay, great.
Let's see. Update over a month later. Well, Halloween is officially over, and I thought I'd give an update before I forgot. Firstly, I've seen a lot of people wondering if I was the reason my husband and his ex split up, and I'd like to clear the air right now. No, they split up when the girls were 2. I came into the picture a year later. Things came to a bit of a head on one of the girls' visits before Halloween. I pulled their mother aside to talk about Halloween, and I told her that I understood she might have mixed feelings about this, but the girls wanted it, and I didn't want to let them down. Besides, it was their father's holiday, and he was in charge of the costume as per their agreement for whoever had them on Halloween. I asked her if there was anything I could do to make this more tolerable for her, as this wasn't doing the girls any favors. She ended up telling me that no, there was nothing I could do, as she didn't approve of it at all since it wasn't appropriate for me to do a group costume with them, as I'm only their stepmother, even if I've been in their life for 7 years at this point. She then continued to insult me. I wasn't going to talk about this with her anymore. After the girls left, I broke down crying a little. When my husband found out what she'd said to me, he ended up calling his ex, asking her where she got off being so cruel. He also made it clear that she was not to call me anymore and that all contact was to go through him. We got the costumes ready and were prepared for Halloween. She dropped the girls off and informed us that one of them had a cold and she didn't want them out in the cold as it would make it worse. She seemed kind of pleased, like this would put an end to our plans. When she left, the girls tried to insist they were okay to go out even though they were sick, but we weren't about to risk making them more ill. So my husband and I came up with another plan. We all dressed in our costumes, ordered pizza, and watched movies. All 4 of us greeted trick-or-treaters so our costumes could still be seen, and we also filled a tub with water and had a bobbing for apples competition. It wasn't the night we had planned originally, but all in all, it was an enjoyable one, despite the little hitch. That's raising kids, though. Thank you, everyone, for all your feedback. I hope you all had a wonderful Halloween. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful time listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts, and search OK Storytime. We've got a little bit left, but, I mean, all's well that ends well, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't, like, totally right.
Right.
But
it didn't really end well, but it's like,
yeah,
you basically told her, screw you, we're doing it.
Like, we got the costumes.
Right.
That's the most important thing.
It seems as well as it could have been.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm glad you're over it.
Me too.
Editing to add additional information. A few people have been worried about the fact we bobbed for apples. The girls love bobbing for apples on Halloween. And since we couldn't trick-or-treat, we took precautions to ensure they could at least do one Halloween thing they enjoyed. We made sure the water wasn't cold, kept towels on hand to dry off right away, and the one who was sick went last. The water was poured out after to ensure the chance of the cold spreading was limited. That's what the comments were so worried about?
Yeah, I was not worried about that at all.
One of OP's comments, OK Wasabi 8101 says, was the kiddo actually sick? Biomom gives straight high school mean girl vibes. I hope she grows up. OP says, sadly, yes. She was sniffly and had a bit of a temperature. She tried to insist she was okay to go out, with her sister chiming encouragement, but we didn't want the cold air to make her worse. And that is the end of that story.
Wow. I mean, not bad.
Yeah,
not bad. Right. We've got a husband with the backbone, which is always nice.
It's great.
We don't get that all the time.
And I'm glad the girls love you. Like, yeah, that's great.
I know, it's so nice. And then this mom can just...
She can get over
deal with it.
Yeah. She'll be fine.
Yeah.
My stepmother acts like I'm competing with her, and I'm tired of it.
You gotta go for first place.
I am 19 years old, and I am away from home attending college. I'm really close with my dad and 2 younger sisters. My parents are divorced, and my dad remarried my stepmom, 45 female, about 7 years ago. By the way, this comes from Miss Molly 314, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily. We don't have all the answers, we just know what we would do in the situation, so let us know what you would do in the comments. Anyway, I don't know what it is, but my stepmom has never made an effort to get to know me. It might have something to do with the fact that when my dad was still married to my mom, he cheated on her with now stepmom. Long story short, I found out and sent stepmom a really mean email.
but it was a mean email coming from an immature 8-year-old who didn't understand the complexity of the situation. I feel like it would be really unfair to write me off because of something that I did when I was 8. But I digress. Continuing on, due to my biological mother's mental health issues, I was not a part of my dad's life until I was 15. When I was reunited with him, I was genuinely excited to meet his wife and my half-brother. I was hoping that she could be a mother figure or even just my friend. I've tried really hard to make this happen too. I buy and make her gifts during the holidays. I try and get her to do stuff with me, and I have tried to tell her directly that I want a relationship. But she still does not like me. She barely speaks to me. Every time I see her, she acts like everyone wants to get rid of her, despite everyone reassuring her that we want her around. She will often just leave the house with my brother whenever I am around, I think to make my dad feel bad about her perceived victimization. She will also say passive-aggressive things that may imply that she is a perpetual victim. For example, I was visiting my dad for the 4th of July. She was planning on leaving to go to her parents' house, so I asked her if she was going to stay for the fireworks. She responded by saying that she was going to leave the next day, but since I wanted her to go, she would leave immediately. We all begged her to stay, but she left anyway. My biggest problem with her is that when my dad spends time with me, she acts like he is having an affair. She will call him and say things like, Rowan and I are learning we can have fun without you, so just stay with Miss Mully, so just stay with OP. Or, I think you should just go to Mexico with OP and her sisters instead of all of us like we planned. She gets so jealous and I just don't understand. I am his daughter, not a spicy dancer. It's gotten to the point where I don't feel welcome at my dad's house. My dad is a major pacifist and he's aware that there's an issue, but he doesn't really confront her about it. Knowing he is not much help, how should I resolve my issues with my stepmom? Should I be direct and tell her that she's acting like a baby? Or should I just wait until their marriage falls apart because their relationship is having serious issues because of all this and money issues? And there is an edit, but what do you think so far? Should OP wait until their marriage falls apart or just confront her now?
We gotta confront her before your marriage is gone. Come on.
Yeah, I feel like
this is
both can happen.
And I feel like everybody can probably tell when she's like leaving and like, beg me to stay. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna leave anyway.
Yeah.
Like, people know that it's her. Totally. At this point, like,
they see her hiding in the bushes after she left.
Right.
They're like, okay, I see you. I thought you went away because you're
so
like,
nuh-uh.
She's like,
nuh-uh.
no. And she just tries to hide again
Yeah.
and then peeks up. She's just so bad at it. Per the suggestion of many of you, I have told my dad that this issue needs to be resolved if he wants a relationship. I suggested family therapy and he's going to talk to her about the idea. If we can make progress, great. If not, it's going to become a painful and unnecessary her versus me situation. Also, next time she starts the passive-aggressive stuff with me, I'm going to confront her about the way that she's treating me. And there are some replies from OP. Yeah, sometimes he's not very smart. He has a very good heart and he's extremely loving, but he's really absent-minded and non-confrontational. Hence, he let me play games on the same phone that he texted his then mistress. I think some of it is because he has the worst case of ADD that I've ever seen. Thankfully, he is finally getting medicated for it. I have let him know how much it has hurt me and that I don't feel welcome in his house. He has talked to her in the past and she gets better for a little bit and then it's back to business as usual. Maybe I need to suggest he get a little more serious about the situation and not just talk to her. In the meantime, I'm going to follow your advice and just not interact with her. I agree with you there. I think she was really enjoying her life with her one son and loving husband. Unfortunately for her, she kind of ignored the fact that my dad had a different life before her. Then, when my dad had to sue for full custody of my sisters and I, she was totally unprepared. I agree that him not standing up for me is not very loving. He's great in every other aspect, but it's not cool for him to just do nothing about this and hope that it gets better. I also think that everyone should know where his almost pathological avoidance of conflict comes from. When I said my mom is mentally ill, I wasn't kidding. She has Munchausen syndrome and Munchausen syndrome by proxy. I'm not defending his unwillingness to stand up for himself and his family because it is really crappy. But I think me explaining his background makes the whole situation easier to understand. I couldn't agree with you more. I love my half-brother very, very much, and since he's young right now, we get along great. But eventually the tension between myself and his mom is going to affect our relationship. In a way, it already has. I'll be playing with my little bro, having a good time, and then out of nowhere, my stepmom will literally take him away from me. It sucks, and I don't get to see him much at all. Ironically, my biological mother is actually crazy. I certainly don't think my dad did the right thing by cheating on her, but I understand why he made that mistake.
He wanted to escape her, but he also didn't want to lose contact with his daughters. When my parents did get divorced, our mom kept us away from him most of the time because she is awful and vindictive. He was a terrible husband, but a great dad. He still is overall, but he really needs to work on defending me if he wants a relationship. I digress. I think the initial drama surrounding the affair might be what attracted stepmom, like you said. She could be trying to create drama because that is the kind of person that she is. Either way, I've told my dad that he has to confront his wife or I can't spend time with him. I suggested family therapy. He was extremely apologetic and said that he wants me in his life. He's going to suggest therapy and we will see where it goes from there. Update. 2 years later. 2 years after posting this, I can safely say that my family is incredibly fractured. My relationship with my dad is never going to be the same. In fact, there might not even be a relationship. My younger stepbrother, 7, has been largely poisoned against me by his mom. My sister, 19, mostly stays away from my dad's home because it is just so uncomfortable. My other sister, 14, feels the need to create even more drama just so she can get a scrap of attention. It has gotten so unbearable that I don't even feel sane anymore. When I wrote my last post, I really thought there was a solution to my stepmom's behavior. I had many calm discussions with my dad where we talked about how damaging stepmom's behavior is. Over time, those discussions have gotten more heated and mean. We had gone over it over and over and over to the point that I feel like a broken record. Every time we talked about the issue, he would acknowledge that her behavior is terrible. Not in those words because he can't say anything bad about her. And tell me that he didn't know why she is liked. I'd ask him why she never liked me over and over again. Why did she never try to get to know me? Why is she so cold? What the heck did I do to deserve this? These are the questions that I asked him pretty much every time I saw him, and he never had an answer. All he could say in her defense was that he could see both sides, even though the issue started when I was an effing kid and did absolutely nothing, and that she was so stressed because she had to clean up and sometimes no one would eat her dinner, which is an absolute joke because when I raised my younger sisters by myself starting at age 13, they did the exact same thing to me. My 13-year-old self never treated them anywhere close to the way that stepmom treats me. I even tried confronting the source of the problem a few times, but it never helped. It probably made things worse. She would just deny any responsibility for her actions and act like I was absolutely insane. Always devolved into shouting because I would get unimaginably frustrated that no one cared or recognized the borderline abuse. And the terrible part is there was nothing that I could really confront her about. There isn't one big thing that she's done, just 7 years of acting like I'm not my father's daughter and like she was a victim of a hate crime. It's so hard to put that into words when someone asks you what exactly stepmom has done that it's so irredeemable. I would much prefer that she had done something big. Knowing someone hates you but will never show it in any other way than coldness is so much worse to me than anger. It got much worse when I had to move back home about 6 months ago because of my financial situation. Also, note that I am not freeloading. I have a full-time job, I pay my own car bill, I rarely eat their food due to stress-induced appetite loss, I buy all my own clothes, pay for everything related to my dog, and until it got bad, I paid rent in the form of using my lunch break to drive my sister home from school, which is 10-ish miles from home. And I swear, when I moved in, I tried so hard to make things better. I tried so effing hard to be her friend, but she has just hid away in her room for the majority of the last 6 months, avoiding me. There were some times when it was okay. We'd have friendly conversation, but it never lasted more than a few weeks. I'd either do something unknown to upset her, or she would do something that upset me. 7 years of tension would just bubble over any time anything happened. 3 months ago, I stopped trying with her. I realized no matter what, she will always hate me. There is no relationship to be had with my stepmom, ever. And it made me so angry that my dad didn't care how much I was hurting. He didn't care that the situation made me feel like I was back in that house with my mom, 13 years old and utterly powerless. So not only did I stop trying, I started being kind of mean. Every time she said something passive-aggressive, I'd rudely call her out. Not like it mattered anyway, since she rarely talked to me, but I stopped talking to her. I made sure to leave as much of my stuff in the way as much as possible. I stopped doing anything to help my stepmom and dad during my work hours, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. I work from home and used to use my lunch break to drive my sister home from school. I rarely ate her dinners, stuff like that. I'm not necessarily proud of my behavior, but I'm not ashamed either. I hate being mean, and it actually doesn't make me feel any better, but I also refuse to just keep ignoring how she treats me. I just wanted something to be different, you know? I didn't care if it made things worse, because then maybe someone would finally help me, but no one did. My dad and I began to grow apart, and now I have a hard time seeing how he can love me and still let this go on for years. And last night, he let it slip that my stepmom is trying to manipulate him into kicking me out. She evidently told him that she would move out of her own effing house just to get away from me. It's the most manipulative thing that she's ever done. And it absolutely broke my effing heart to hear that. One, from someone that hates me that much, and two, that my own father didn't think that was unacceptable to say. Yes, for the past 3 months, I have not been nice, but I have not been evil. I have certainly not done anything that she herself hasn't done for years. There's nothing wrong with me, and I have to keep reminding myself of that. I have certainly done nothing to deserve her making my dad choose between his daughter and his wife. The conversation ended with me reminding him that under state law, he can't punt me out unless he wants to go through eviction proceedings. I never wanted it to come to that. I only mentioned it because I have a dog that I am responsible for, and I will not let her live on the streets. And that's where we left it. The past few weeks have made me realize that he will never stand up for me. He will never admit that there is nothing that made his wife hate me other than her own crazy. He will never admit that she 100% started the situation out of jealousy or something else when I was a kid. He will never admit that it's not my fault, except the escalation that happened when I moved in, something that I freely admit that I 100% had a big part of. He will never leave her, even though in desperation I have asked him how he could love someone that hated his daughter so much. And by the way, I don't know how you could be listening to this and not want to listen to full episodes of stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime and you can do that.
You can.
But there is a little bit more to the story. But yeah, I know that stuff is hard. He's like not doing anything.
Yeah. We're probably 3 years into this story now?
Yeah, at least.
Nothing's changing.
Nothing's changing.
They're actively admitting, hey, we're manipulating you.
Yeah. And Dad is like, yeah, she's manipulating me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just letting you know. Thank you for reading this very long update. I'm about 90% sure that I have a place lined up to move in within the next week. I will be leaving this house and never coming back unless their marriage ends. I still love my dad, but I am so disappointed in him. I'm not cutting contact out of anger. I'm cutting contact because it is too painful to have my dad prove to me every single day that he does not care how bad anyone treats me. And there are some replies to comments from OP. OP says, I am moving out. However, you really need to read the other post. It gives context to why I'm being rude. For 7 years, I've put up with her treating me like I'm not my father's daughter. Even still, nothing that I've done has been anything close to how she has treated me regularly. Also, this is the first time since I was 12 that I have lived in my father's home, quote, rent-free. I supported myself for my teenage years. The stuff I've done is annoying, not evil. And nothing that isn't done in this house by everyone on a daily basis. No one talks to each other since it got bad. My close in age siblings also live rent-free and don't help around the house. The issue is that she never liked me and never wanted me to move in. I don't know why, but that's how it's been since I met her. First of all, her behavior has affected both of my biological siblings in the same way. She is just much meaner to me. One of them is still a minor, so your point is now invalid. Second, a person can make both their spouse and kids a priority. He's known me all his life, and I've never wanted him to do anything drastic like leave her for me. All I've been asking for is helping fix the problem. Someone to defend me. I suggested family therapy, but they didn't want to go. And that's the end of that story.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess like now you want them to break up, but obviously
Right.
that's so valid.
I don't think that's gonna change either, though.
Yeah.
My stepkids want to move back in and are furious I stole their rooms.
Those are my rooms.
And we have a trigger warning for emotional abuse. My female 31 husband, male 45, has 2 kids from a previous relationship who are female 20 and male 23. When we married, they had already moved out of their house. We have a baby together, male 1, who now sleeps in his own room, which is stepdaughter's old room that we turned into a baby room. By the way, this comes from particular box 6052, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Sophia.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, now all of a sudden, they both want to move back in. Stepdaughter lost her job and can't afford her house anymore. Stepson is done with college and recently moved back to our city. I said they are both welcome back, but they have to share stepson's room. There is no other room to put baby stuff, and I'm not going to put it all in a storage or something like that. That's baby's room now. They are adults and they moved out, and I wasn't going to keep the rooms empty for them. Now they are angry and saying I'm the a-hole. And Am I the A-hole has no consensus bot. OP received mixed responses, but leaning towards not the A-hole.
I don't think that you are the a-hole. I wonder why they're getting mad at you specifically and not like their dad.
My only thing is, I think that you should always plan for someone who's been at college to move back in.
Yeah.
And you can't necessarily expect a 20 and a 23-year-old of opposite gender siblings to want to share a room.
Absolutely. I agree with both of those things.
Or share one with a baby, though.
Yeah.
Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Why are you having to be the bad guy? It seems like your husband's problem to solve, not the a-hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should not all be on OP.
No.
And OP says, because they keep arguing with me while he's not around. He has made it clear that either they take that one room that is given to them, or they can just leave. Commenter 2, start turning a recorder on your phone when your husband is not around and the stepkids are. Make sure they do not notice. Then show husband how they treat you when he's not around. Maybe he will realize they should not move back in. Maybe they can share a cheap apartment. OP says, I don't need to. He believes me over everyone. I just don't want to be that kind of stepmom. If I told him they are bothering me, he wouldn't let them stay here at all. Commenter 3 says, does your home have a basement? Where is your husband in this equation? OP says it has an unfinished basement that needs a lot of work done and will cost us a lot. We have a baby, it's expensive. We don't have extra money to just finish the basement for them, and he agrees with me. Commenter 4, just curious, but where do they suggest the baby be? With you and your husband? Would they rather share a room with a baby? Are they suggesting the baby stay in the unfinished basement? If they do not want to share a room, they can get an apartment together. One could not move in, or one of them can clear a spot in the basement for themselves. Baby needs a room. They may be tiny, but they come with lots of stuff. Not the a-hole. I hope they bugger off and give you some peace. OP says they think the baby should be with me and my husband. And a downvoted commenter, you're the a-hole, but because of how you said it, not because of the situation. You could have handled that more sensitively, or let that discussion happen between their father and them instead of coming from you. Yes, it makes sense that one of the rooms is for the baby. They're probably just mad about the situation. You should talk to your husband about your response and ways to cool things off before continuing to discuss with your stepchildren.
Why was that downvoted?
Yeah, I think that's
I kind of agree with that. Maybe because they said you're the a-hole.
Maybe.
They started off and I was like, ah!
Honestly, in my personal opinion, if there was no space for the baby's crib to be out and for like an air mattress to just go in there or something, brother gets his room back because he was the last one out because sister just had a house.
Yeah.
Baby has that room, or sister's crashing in there for a little bit, or sister gets the basement.
Yeah, I agree.
OP says, I don't discuss with them. They keep discussing with me when my husband isn't around. Why don't the stepchildren stay with their mother? OP says, she has a much smaller house than us. They are uncomfortable there.
Well, then why doesn't one stay with you and then one with mom?
Sister go to mom, brother go back to his house. OP's stepchildren can move in and refinish the basement themselves. OP says they don't have the money either. Also, it needs to be temporary. I don't want 30-year-old adults living in my basement.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But we have an update the next day.
Ooh-wee.
I decided to just tell my husband everything they've been saying. I didn't want to say something originally because I didn't want to cause problems between them, but they are old enough to know exactly what they are doing, so they should also be prepared for the consequences. Again, though, 20 and 23. You can still be pretty young and immature at 20 and 23.
I agree. I mean, especially 20.
Especially 20.
Look at me.
So young and immature.
At 29. I'm going through a lot lately. I'm still struggling with PPD that just doesn't seem to go away. I told my husband that I will never ask him to choose me and his kids, but I have to choose between me and his kids, and I choose me. My mental health is important. His kids haven't even moved in, but they are already here all the time because they don't have a place to live. Yeah. And they keep arguing and nagging and pushing me to my limits, and I can't worry about them sharing a room. I have enough problems already.
Oh, so she doesn't even want them?
She doesn't want them I think she's fine if they share a room, but she's like, don't keep yelling at me, don't involve me, like just figure it out.
Yeah.
I have enough problems already. I told him I'm going to stay in a hotel for a few days because I need to be away from him and his kids. This includes the little one. He didn't let me leave and instead took the baby and left. He returned about an hour ago. He had bought some takeout for me. He asked how I'm doing and said the baby is with his sister and is doing well.
That's actually kind of nice. I don't know if Opie's gonna like this, but it sounds good to me.
It's a little.
She's like, I'm leaving, and
Weekend of
instead
a
of being like,
babysitter?
you have to be kicked out of your own house, he's like, okay, you
I
know
think
what?
it'd be nicer to stay in my own house.
Yeah, I think this is nice.
Okay. He gave me the keys he has given his kids and said he took them away and they can't just walk in ever again and need permission from now on. He said I should have just said something sooner instead of waiting until I get to my breaking point. By the way, no matter what point you're at, you can always listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, search up OK Storytime. We got a little bit more. I get that they've been yelling at OP a lot,
which
but
is not
you
acceptable.
Right, but you have also said that you have stepped in as their parent.
Yeah.
And that is often what
How
kids do to their parents.
I agree.
And I don't think it changed if you have fully been their parent for a while and have stepped up as that role. I don't think now it changes because you're their step parent.
Yeah. No, there probably is a lot of hostility between the kids and her.
I am sure. So maybe it's not smart for them to come back.
Yeah.
But I would be a little bit sad if my father, which you
had
should have had more conversation with your father instead of the stepmom, but I would be really upset if suddenly it was like, oh, you're taking her side and I'm kicked from the house.
And I'm gone and you have a new kid. Yeah. Complicated situation.
He is going to help his kids find a cheap apartment and some roommates, and he will help them with rent for a few months until they can afford to pay it themselves.
This was the other option that I was thinking.
Why was this not on the table sooner?
Yeah.
They are not happy, but he is not willing to give them more. He and our baby will stay with his sister for a night or two so I can get some rest. But if I want them back sooner, I can just call them and he will return. I think that's just wanting the baby, not everybody. We are finally going to repurpose stepson's room as well.
I understand a lot of the comments saying like, yeah, they're old, they're adults, they can get an apartment, but like it also is super common for people to move back into their parents' house because they can't afford to buy a house or like don't necessarily have a well-paying job yet because they just graduated college.
And again, it's the case in point of if you had a conversation with them like, hey, we're gonna turn your rooms into a baby room,
right? Which they only turned the older one who was in a house's room into something, and I feel like at that point, fair, you thought she would have a house that she'd stay in.
Yeah.
I mean,
and now they're like, well, now we'll repurpose stepson's room, and I'm like,
it feels a little,
I don't know. We are finally going to repurpose stepson's room as well. It will just be a guest room for now.
But at that point, like, why do you even need to change
stay in that room then?
Yeah, why do you even need to change it?
It's just going to be a guest room. But he wants to buy some bookshelves as well, so we can have a library too. I guess that's all. And we have some relevant comments. Commenter 1, everyone sucks here.
I kind of agree.
I agree at this point.
I kind of agree. Like, everyone sucks here, and also everyone's a little bit, like, right in some areas.
Yes.
100%.
You admit you have PPD, and instead of seeking any sort of support, you were going to ditch your baby and your husband. You also have guaranteed his kids want nothing to do with you or their half-siblings.
Yeah.
Let's not blame the mom for PPD, though.
No, not the PPD part.
But the other half of that,
the last part of that sentence, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, they were crap, and you're right not to want them there, 100%, but the way you went about it made sure they won't forget. OP says, I'm getting help. It doesn't magically go away, especially when you have a history of depression. I can't just take a pill and be cured. I matter too. My therapist says there's nothing wrong with spending some time alone without my husband or even my baby. Commenter 2 says, I'm very glad your husband stood up for you and baby. Quite frankly, adult kids need to understand they can't keep running home every time life gets hard.
I don't know. That feels so unfair to me.
Commenter 3, well done. You've achieved your aim of alienating your husband from his kids. 23-year-old who lost her job and 20-year-old who has just finished college. I notice you didn't answer the question on your previous thread about who paid for the house you live in or how long you're married. OP says, I assure you my stepkids didn't pay for the house.
I don't think that's what the person
what
was
we're
saying.
asking. I think we're asking if your husband or you paid for it.
Yeah.
And being married for a short time doesn't make me less entitled to my own house or less of a wife. Commenter 4, you could have a bit of sympathy for them. It's tough to not be able to go back to your childhood home because your father married a much younger woman. You're within your rights, but you could have a bit more grace. OP says our means mine and his. So saying mine is not wrong. If I say I took my child somewhere, does it mean my child is no longer my husband's child? You are grasping at straws. OP, I'm liking you less and less.
Yeah, you're becoming more of the a-hole
I'm
as we
liking you
continue.
so much less.
I just think none of these people like each other.
Yeah. No one is asking them to disappear, but I can't have arguments every day at my/our house.
Jesus.
It's not healthy for anyone. Of course it is nice for a night or two. And last time I asked my husband, he and the baby are staying in the guest room together, not demanding 2 bedrooms. And that is the end of that story.
Okay.
Everybody sucks, OP.
Yeah.
I like how OP was getting really like,
You
you know
were
what?
not
I'm tired of
saving
you guys
yourself.
telling me about, all this.
Right.
This is my story. You should be siding with me. I'm like,
Yeah.
I
wait,
lost
didn't
a
you
lot
ask
of
for
sympathy.
advice?
Yeah. I feel
You
like
went to the internet for advice and you got
didn't
it.
like what you
And you didn't
got.
like what you got.
And
And
I
you
feel
were
like a lot of people were on her side originally.
Right. They
And then
fully
she
would have kept.
yeah.
There was one single. I mean, I'm sure there was more, but we
Yeah.
had one. Everyone sucks here, and she's like, everyone does not suck here.
And I'm like, girl. Yeah.
Now I think you're a
Yeah.
little wrong.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. It is ultimately, they probably did grow up in that house their whole
Yeah.
lives and expected to come back. And then a 31-year-old comes in dating
Her dad.
married to their dad and,
Yeah.
and is like, nope, get out.
Get out. And also like the part about like the dad being, taking her side over everyone's.
Yeah.
It must
I
be,
mean, I
like-
get that.
I do get that she is his wife,
which is great.
which is good. He should support her. But I also think like just thinking about the point of view of his kids being like,
yes.
wow, do you never listen to us?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that he 100% could have shut down, hey, stop yelling at my wife. I know you don't like
Absolutely.
her.
Set
I know she came
boundaries.
in. You will have a place here. We will figure something out. But my wife's going through PPD right now. Like, let's just
Yeah.
everybody take a breath.
And I guarantee you the kids were like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I also guarantee you that OP also went, I don't care, and
Yeah.
doubled down
And
Yeah.
then
from
the
the
husband's
sound
like,
of that.
I don't know what to do.
I feel like I want to get the perspective of the husband and the perspective of the kids, or at least one
Yeah.
of the kids.
I want more
Because again,
important POVs.
it's hard because we always get one side of the story.
Yeah.
And
It's just crazy when that side seems to be a little bit more
Yeah.
holy
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
the end.
But-
I'm still agreeing that everyone sucks here.
I agree.
My stepbrother chose his girlfriend over us. Now he says we ruined his life?
Is she really cool or something?
Trigger warning. For the story, there is mentions of child neglect and child endangerment. For context, I have been in my stepbrother's life since he was 5 and I was 13. Mark was always the golden child, never getting in any trouble or really facing any consequences for his actions. His family treated him better than me and my siblings, while my family treated him as one of us, thus causing him to act like he was better than me or my brother, who was 2 years older than him. Then, as a teenager, he started dating a girl and they ended up having 2 kids after high school. By the way, this comes from user ReasonableHoney4845, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Keon.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. Just only know what we do. So let us know what you do in the comments. As OP says, so I'll start with my brothers. We will call him Mark. At the time, fiance, we will call her Sarah. So Mark and Sarah were pregnant. He broke up with her, or cheated on her according to her. Found out later she is a huge pathological liar.
Yikes.
But so is Mark.
Double yikes.
That's a concoction for a lot of lies.
Wow. Are they even dating?
I don't know. And I'm assuming Mark started dating some girl from Skibbity, Ohio.
Okay.
We lived in Upper Michigan, and he was working on a freighter at the time. The girl broke up with him about a month after, and Mark got off the boats to figure his life out. During this time, they were also living in a home owned by my parents and were supposed to be paying rent. But Sarah was not working, and so they were not paying my parents' rent. Then, right before their second child was born, he went back out on the boats and was also sent to Seattle for special training paid for by his company. During all of this, Mark was telling my mother that he was working on his relationship with Sarah and that they were going to get married. According to Sarah, he was also telling her she needed to go to therapy to make things work between them. But what about him? Just Sarah needed to go to therapy?
Yeah.
Not both of you?
If you're both pathological liars.
Then in January of 2024, we found out Mark, who was almost 23 at the time, had been talking to and seeing an 18-year-old girl from Ohio for 3 months. And we're going to call Skibbity Ohio girl Darlene. I will admit, when I found out, I sent him some rather nasty texts and called Darlene some rather nasty names that I did not mean. Maybe in the moment you meant it. Come on, you sent them for a reason. It was just to make Mark mad, and I regret that now and have since apologized. Mark during this time had been living with Sarah due to being the off-season for the lakes and freighters, but again was not paying rent since he never applied for off-season unemployment. Mark then left to move to Ohio to be with Darlene and live with her and her parents. He did go back out on the freighter for about 2 weeks, but then left due to his mental health. In May, I got fired from my job and moved back to the town my parents were living in and moved in with Darlene. You moved in with Darlene? How do you know?
Why did you move in? Wait. That definitely says Darlene,
that
right?
says Darlene.
Why did you move in with a Darlene?
Do you mean Sarah? Or do you mean Darlene?
Either one is weird.
Okay. I lived with her for almost 2 months before moving out due to her lying, stirring up drama between me, my mother, and her mother, and also being a terrible mother who was giving my 3-year-old nephew melatonin each night to get him to sleep. That's brutal.
You can't do that.
She didn't really bathe the kids and sat on her phone all day while I took care of them. My nephew even started calling me Mama during this time because I was taking care of them more than she was, which made her upset and caused more drama. She also, during this time, started letting Mormons come into our house because she wanted to start dating the cute 20-year-old Mormon. What the F is going on here? This sounds like an NPC lobby. But honestly, what guy at that age would want to be with a 25-year-old single mother of 2? I moved out and managed to patch things up with Mark due to finding out how crazy Sarah was. But for context, Mark never told us any of the stuff that happened between him and Sarah. He has always hidden stuff from us because he doesn't want to take accountability for his actions. Then, for the kid's birthday, he came up with Darlene to see them. Why? He was late and refused to see any of us because of Darlene's anxiety. Okay, I let Mark know how I felt. He had ruined mine and my mother's time with the kids. After my falling out with Sarah, she kept the kids away from my parents and also was accusing me of stealing in front of my nephew. I know this because he yelled at me to give his mom her stuff back. I never stole anything from her. In fact, when she finally moved out of my parents' house, owing them thousands back in rent, she stole things of theirs, including a microwave that my grandparents had bought for my parents as a gift. While Sarah moved out, she also took all of Mark's stuff as well, stealing it from us as Mark had told us we could keep it, such as a mini fridge and a big screen TV that his mother had bought him for his birthday. But we found out after, without Mark informing us, that he had caved and told Sarah she could take it as she had been poking and yelling at him that she should take it for his kids. After letting Mark know how I felt hurt by him making me leave and wouldn't even get out of the car to tell me himself and made Sarah tell me, he didn't really communicate. Then, right before Christmas of 2024, he and Darlene came to visit. Again, is it Darlene?
I think it is Darlene.
It has to be Darlene.
She lives with Sarah, but he brought Darlene back for the holidays, basically.
What are we doing? This is so messy. I just gotten home from work and walked through the door to see Darlene and Mark sitting at the dining room table, still in their hats and coats. I said hi to Mark, and he did not introduce me to Darlene. I went about talking with my family. When my brother came home and his uncle had called to video chat with my stepdad, they both made fun of the hat Mark was wearing.
Okay.
I could tell this upset Darlene, as we knew Darlene had dressed Mark up. Was it a fedora?
I hope so.
Was it a fedora with a feather? Or like one of those like newspaper boys hats?
A Newsies cap?
Yeah, the Newsies caps? I hope so. Mark was wearing stuff he never wore before or would have chosen himself. Darlene then was ready to leave. Mark and her were going to leave without even talking to my mother as she was getting ready because they stopped by way earlier than any of us expected. Mark then told us he was going to come back to visit later. This did not happen, as he made Sarah and the kids leave our house to see him and Darlene as he did not want to come over to prevent drama. I don't know what drama he was talking about, as I thought the visit went fine despite Darlene and Mark not leaving the dining room table. After that, Mark did not talk to us. Then on March 7th, I sent Mark a text telling him that he and Darlene need to be careful when on the phone with Sarah because the kids can hear. I was told by my nephew that Darlene was yelling at Sarah. I told him that I understand it's hard with Sarah as she pokes, trying to get a reaction out of people to feed her need for drama. And I was currently not talking to her even when she came to visit. Mark then went off on me, saying we make Darlene out to be the villain when she's not, and basically telling me and our parents we are terrible people as we do not give Darlene a chance and we had talked bad about her. I informed Mark we do not talk about Darlene as we do not know her. We've only met her once and that I was just trying to help. I had our long back and forth apologizing for anything I may have done wrong and said, I don't know how to fix this situation. He has not called or sent me a text since. After that, I did not see Darlene or Mark, but they stopped by my parents' house when my stepdad was working on the other house, and Darlene chose that time to yell at my mother.
Oh my God.
Telling her we have not been there for Mark or supported him. That she is the only one who has been there for him. I don't understand how we can support Mark when he doesn't talk to us and he lives 7 hours away. But okay, pop off, sis. My mom then explained to Mark that I didn't mean any harm from my text and was just trying to help. And he told her that it didn't come off that way. Then comes the summer. Sarah had to deal with CPS twice as my nephew had run away and my niece's feet had somehow gotten severely burnt while she was at work and the kids were at the babysitter's. What? We were not in contact with Mark at this point, and my stepdad had been working to keep the kids in our lives as we did not want Sarah keeping them from us, as she had done multiple times at this point whenever she was mad at us. About a month later, when Mark was notified by CPS, he called his father and yelled at him, asking why he didn't tell him about CPS. Hey, moron, you don't talk to us. First off, second off, it's your children. You should be in contact with your kids more. This is all I'm getting from this story right now, OP, is that Mark will never take accountability and will point the finger at anybody else but himself. So he's a coward, 1. 2, he's not liable for anything. The guy just sucks.
He's a pathological liar, and he ran away to Ohio with his girlfriend that he was cheating on his other girlfriend with
2 kids.
That he has
AKA
kids with.
Your niece and nephew. The guy sucks. But let's continue. His father let him know the reasons I gave up above. Mark then cut communication with his father pretty much completely at that point. The most recent incident was at my niece and nephew's birthday party. My mother was helping my nephew open gifts, and he didn't seem interested in his gift from his aunt. To which my mother jokingly said, I guess we will have to throw it out then. This upset his aunt, but everything was talked through and it ended up A-OK. After that, something upset Sarah. Unsure what, I feel like anything will upset Sarah at this point. So she told Mark about it. He then called my mother, yelling at her, telling her she is nothing to those kids, and her and his father did this stuff to him growing up, and she is not to do it to his kids. The fact that this way of communicating with people is not even communicating, it's just yelling and blaming people, and then hanging up the phone.
Yeah, no one's actually talking about what's going on.
No, the fact that no one's calling this man out for, maybe you guys are, but that's, I don't know.
I mean, OP kind of did for a little bit there, but it's like he didn't answer,
the thing
so
is,
there wasn't more.
You can't call out somebody who will never take accountability because you're just like, no, you're wrong, and now you're attacking me, and now you're the meanie bobini. So, and you know what else is true? You listening to full episodes with stories just like this, just go to your favorite podcast apps such as iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and searching up OK Storytime. Right here. It's true.
It is.
There's a little bit left. Carly, what say you? I mean,
this whole thing is crazy. I feel like Mark doesn't really want to talk to you guys. You guys don't really talk to Mark. I don't even know what Sarah's doing. I feel like OP, the level of low contact that you can have while still like maintaining the level of contact with the nephews that you aren't. Like, I don't even know. Like, can you even have both?
I don't know, but also the way your parents or step parents or whatever the adults per se. I mean, everyone's an adult here, but how he's treating his parents or your parents, what have you, is just so wrong. He just yells at them and attacks them and calls them out for everything. And I feel like he's just facing zero consequences, and then he doesn't want to hear the noise. At this point, he's the one who always cuts contact with you guys. At this point, what's the point of talking to this guy? He just brings drama and stress wherever he goes. Sarah's stressful. Darlene's stressful. Mark is useless and stressful. So I don't see what the point is. You want to keep in contact with this person or these people, you can, but
I think
don't
OP
know.
is more just like, I want to see my nephews still.
I think with the way that CPS goes, see if anyone in your family who's more responsible can take those kids, because those kids need to get out of that situation 100%. I would even talk to Mark about it, because Mark's not going to do a dang thing about it for those kids. Those kids deserve a better mother and a better life, because from what we've heard, not great. That's not a great environment. So let's go ahead and finish up the story. He did not specify what things they did to him, but then went on to say he is afraid to talk to my parents. Didn't say why, he's a coward, and that he is hurt from this division. My words, not his. He then also said he is used to being number one, and he is number two because he put his kids first, and he doesn't like that.
Well, that shows exactly who he is.
Cry me a river, Justin Timberlake. Oh my gosh.
Get over it, dude.
I was listening in during that part and had to stifle my laughs. I also recently found out that he and Darlene are getting married next July, and we are not invited. I know this from posts and reposts online she's doing, basically bragging about how we are not invited, such as one post where she was talking about the wedding and how they are so excited for family to be there. Well, we won't be. We were planning on going, even if we were invited. Mark also doesn't know how his extended family feels either. And I guarantee you, he doesn't care.
Yeah, but that's the end of that story.
My stepsister nearly cut me off because I didn't check on her pregnancy.
Well, what are you, her doctor?
So this all started in November 2024 when my now ex-husband, male 34, got promoted to a new position through his company. But it meant us packing up our house and moving to another state. He left for the new state shortly after he got the promotion in November, while I, female 33, stayed back and worked on packing our home and prepping it for sale. By the way, this comes from Wampa Wampa Fruit. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I am Savannah.
Wampa Wampa, I'm Dakota.
And Wampa Wampa, we're here to give good advice goofily. But we don't have all the answers. We only would tell you what we would do in this situation, so please let us know what you would do in the comments. As OP says, in March 2025, I was finally going to be able to move with him into our new home after months of packing, the process of selling our old home, looking for our new home, and transferring jobs. On moving day, no less. He told me he had been cheating on me the past 3 months. Whoa!
Well, at least he's honest.
I mean, yeah, the last day possible.
Ugh.
Obviously, this threw my whole world into complete chaos. When I found out, I told everyone in my family. I decided I deserved better and wanted a divorce. Yes, as you should. This was very, very hard. We were together for 13 years, and he was all I ever knew. My life as I knew it was over, and I was incredibly depressed and heartbroken during this time.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah, I mean, what do? That is your whole life. I had never been on my own before him, and it took a few months before I could stand on my own 2 feet again. But I was able to get away from him, move to a new state, and start my life over. It was challenging, but I did it, and I'm glad I did. Now, I'm happy to say I have a very loving boyfriend, and I have never been happier. Oh, good.
Oh,
Good.
yeah. Heck yeah, dude.
As you should. One person in particular I talked to about everything was my stepsister, female 29. We have never been super close in my eyes. We only really reached out to each other during holidays and birthdays, occasionally one of us calling to check in. But beyond that, I never really thought we were that close. This wasn't a bad thing, and I still care about her. It's just that we never really hung out outside of a family gathering, talked much on the phone, or even texted. I found out around the same month I asked for a divorce. She told me her and her husband were pregnant, which was wonderful news, just at a bad time in my life. The divorce didn't happen overnight and took a few months even after I moved to finalize paperwork, work through lawyer issues, and sell the house. I moved in June and started to get settled into my first apartment in a new state. I had many low times during all this where I felt depressed, stressed, isolated, and abandoned by a lot of people in my life. Not only had my husband abandoned me, but my dad stopped talking to me altogether. Oh. Very few people reached out to me aside from my best friend, mom, and stepmom, who I talked to once a week. They, alongside my new relationship, kept me moving forward. It did hurt that not many other people reached out during this time because it definitely was not easy. Fast forward to October 2025, and I get vacation time and can go to my home state to visit family for the first time since everything went down in March. I also go to my stepsister's baby shower, which my stepmom had excitedly been giving me updates about this entire time when we talked on the phone. It was great to see my stepsister and her hubby. While I was there, everything seemed normal. We all talked and joked. I got to feel the baby punt, and it was just a wonderful time. Smiles all around. After the party, I spoke with my dad, who was now talking to me again after 6 months no contact, who told me that my stepsister said she was actually ready to write me out of her life if I didn't show up to the shower because I hadn't reached out to her during her whole pregnancy. I thought this was strange coming from her and didn't sound right, so I reached out to her and asked myself if she actually felt this way. To my surprise, she said yes, because I hadn't reached out to her to check in during a stressful time in her life, which is ironic. This immediately made me upset because she also had not reached out to me during one of the most stressful times of my life either.
It looks like we're holding on to the scoreboard now. That's an easy way for everyone to lose, from my understanding.
It's like, well, I'm not mad at you for not reaching out. Well, I'm mad at you for not reaching out. Well, let's just never reach out. Okay.
So what you should ask is, what do you want out of this relationship with your sister? What connection do you want? What, instead of it being like, well, this is fair, this is even, weren't there for me, so I won't be there for you.
Yeah, or trying to compare well, I'm going through a hard time. Well, I was going through a hard time. Well, my time was harder. Your time, that just will literally get you nowhere. I feel that relationships are a two-way street and it shouldn't be all one person putting in effort. But I bit my lip and just told her I was very sorry I had hurt her. I had no idea she felt that way and that I wanted to be a better sister to her and would make more of an effort to reach out. It's been a month since that talk and I reach out to her a few times a week. Texting, sometimes sending her funny videos on Facebook or Snapchats. When I text her, she barely responds and it's always very one-sided about how she's doing or feeling. She never asks how I am or what I'm doing, and when I do tell her, she just seems disinterested or doesn't even respond. But again, I'm still trying. Now I feel like a doormat. I can't help feeling frustrated because my feelings were hurt that she was so mad I didn't reach out, but never thought to speak to me or tell me or even ask how I was doing.
Yeah, it's crazy that she didn't reach out at all after your entire life imploded on you. My partner cheated on me one day before they were moving across the country. I don't know. I would expect hey, are you good? At least. I would expect something.
I understand she is at the end of her pregnancy and things are scary and overwhelming and hormones play a big part. But I can't shake my feeling of irritation the more I reach out and get a half-assed response. I feel like I don't matter. My feelings don't matter, and putting effort in doesn't matter. I would love to approach her with how I feel in this situation, similar to how she felt, but I also don't want to stress her out before she has a baby.
I think you can approach her in a way that's not super stressful. Try to keep the emotions as low as possible. Just be like, hey, I feel like, maybe our communication's a little one-sided, and I, feel like I do want to put effort into this, but I'm not sure exactly what it's accomplishing. And again, I don't want to stress you out. I just want to let you know how I'm feeling because I'm your sister and you're my sister, and I want us to be able to move forward and have a good relationship together.
It doesn't have to be you don't have to be so intense or intimidating about it. It could just be hey, I've just been feeling maybe there's a little tension between us or something, and I kind of want to figure that out before, all this baby stuff happens. I'm just not sure what to do or if it's even worth stressing about. Should I just let it go altogether or keep on like I have been? Am I the a-hole for not reaching out sooner during her pregnancy when I was going through a divorce at the same time? All right, update. First off, Thank you very much to everyone who has responded and all of your kind words and advice. Sometimes it's nice to gain the perspective of another person outside of friends and family. Some people had said that my stepsister seemed spoiled or like a bully, but I disagree. I think in all honesty, she is similar to me and is a bit of a doormat in the family. I think she just didn't think about what I was going through or realize how hard it might be honest. This doesn't make it okay, and I'm not excusing her behavior because it is still crappy. But I definitely don't think her intentions were meant to be mean in any way. I honestly think a major factor in this situation is my dad. He and I have always had a very tumultuous relationship. When I moved, he and I had a falling out. He stopped talking to me and refused to respond to texts and calls after I moved. We finally started talking again the day before the baby shower because my stepmom didn't want any drama at the shower and told him to call me and work things out. He said a lot of cruel things to me during that time, and it made me realize how much of a self-absorbed person he was. As a side note, you really start to realize who is there for you through your hardest times when you're going through something like a divorce. It shows you a lot about the people around you. He is part of that generation of if someone hurts your feelings, too bad. It's your responsibility to maintain the relationship, not theirs. I've been slowly putting distance between me and him only after years of not realizing I was being a doormat and a people pleaser. I was letting these people in my life walk all over me, especially him. I think he was the one who actually put the idea in my stepsister's head that I should have reached out to her, and I was a crappy person for not doing so. In his mind, it's my responsibility to reach out to people I want to have a relationship with. I find it weird that the timing lines up with my dad refusing to reach out to me and talk to me. I'm sure he was bad-mouthing me with her, but who knows. So now, for the actual update.
Let's go.
Any conversation with my sister is going to have to be put on the back burner because she went into labor yesterday.
Oh.
Baby time, baby time.
Well, at least you don't have to worry about the conversation stressing out the baby.
She had to have an emergency C-section today. Baby is healthy, and she is doing good too. It was hard and scary, and lots went sideways, but everyone is doing fine now. By the way, it would definitely be fine if you would like to listen to full episodes just like this one. Go to iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime.
Go do it. I dare ya.
I double dare you.
I triple dare ya.
There's an update. What should we talk about?
Well, I think you're moving in the right direction. I think you're realizing, like, maybe a lot of this isn't even necessarily coming from either of you, and maybe more from the environment you were in when you grew up, right? Like, with narcissist dad. I think you're going to be fine. I think you move forward, and you know what? You're going to visit the baby and be with the baby, see the baby, babysit, probably, at some point. And I think you guys are on the road to mending the fence.
For now, I think it's best that I continue to be there for her. Yeah, baby. But I am going to take people's advice and slowly take a step back and not message her as often as I was before. A conversation will be had in the future when life slows down and it can be brought up and not seen as an attack. I still want to bring it up and share with her how hard it was and how dark of a time it was. I don't think she really knew how hard the mental struggle was on me, and to be fair, I never really opened up about it afterwards. It's something that maybe in the future we can talk about and hopefully come to a mutual understanding. That's the end.
I think you'll do exactly that. I think that is exactly what will happen.
I honestly don't think anyone really did anything wrong in this. I think life just got the best of both of you. And, you know, sometimes you go through hard things, good things, whatever, and then you lose contact with people. But, you know, no one should blame each other for that. Like, stuff just gets in the way, and that's just life. Yeah, the dad just seems like he's starting stuff, which annoying. So I would just, you know, keep him at arm's length. But yeah, I think you're doing fine, OP. I think everything's gonna work out.
I do too.
My father shamed me for being upset over something they caused.
I'm shaming you.
Anyways, I, 17 female, have a very strained relationship with my dad, 48, and stepmom, 49. Growing up, my dad has always been the type of dad to be told when to actually parent and not do it himself. My parents separated when I was 4 years old, and due to my mom working in pubs and my dad working 2 jobs at the time, I ended up living with my nan. By the way, this comes from Feeling Orchid 1534. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Keon.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do. So let us know what you do in the comments. And OP says, there was a system set up. So every 2 weeks, I would go to my dad's on the weekends. And on the weekends between, I'd go to my mom's so I could see them both. Even before I was born, my dad was a crappy person and cheated on my mom twice.
Ah.
Yikes. After I was born, she would do everything while he would sit with a newspaper in front of the TV. Once I moved into my nan's and my granddad's house, my nan would have to chase after my dad to get him to help pay for things. I have hypermobility in my legs and it affects my feet really badly, meaning I need to have supportive inserts and specific shoes, which got expensive. My nan and mom would pay some and my dad would pay some, same with school uniform and supplies. But my nan would have to text multiple times to see any money from my dad to help out. Just in general, he would be difficult to get a hold of whenever it concerned me. In 2020, my nan passed away from cancer, so I moved in with my mom as my granddad was struggling with having my uncle and me living there. This then led to my mom and dad coming to an agreement where he would send my mom £50 a week, £200 a month in total, to help with my food, uniform, and supplies. That feels like, I don't know, is that enough?
No.
For all of that?
No, but I feel like what we're going to get, and what we've already seen, his dad is never going to be enough.
Yeah. When I got into year 11, I had to travel for 2 hours on a good day, or 3 to 4 hours on a bad day home from school.
What?
So me, my mom, and dad decided that my mom would get £25 from my dad instead of £50, and I'd get the other $25 for travel train fares. Now, I want to point out that even though at first the money helped, soon, because of train fares getting more expensive, the £25 wasn't really helping me. My mom would have to send me money a lot of the time so I could actually get home and get something to eat, especially if the travel was bad that day. My mom tried to speak to my dad and things got sour quickly as he thought it was more than enough. To make matters worse, my mom lost her job and went on child benefits and universal credit. We lived in a council hostel for a year and train fares went up again, so it was hard with travel, but thankfully the hostel was closer to my school. Also at this time, my dad only had one job which was paying well. He told me so himself. He didn't offer to help out with me at all, though, and I had stopped going every weekend to his and my stepmom's. Okay. So he has more money now, and he's still not helping.
And Lou says uniforms are standard. They are standard, so never mind.
Yeah.
But still, why so far away? One.
That's what I'm wondering.
Also, I guarantee the dad was like, back in my day,
yeah,
it only cost, 25 is so much. 25 pounds?
It cost a cent.
Yeah.
I would have to confirm whether I was going or not, as I was distancing myself from that side of the family due to comments that were made. Now on to the main issue. There are many others, but there are the bigger points that still get spoken about. Every year for my stepmom's birthday, sometimes not landing on it, whichever week it was, we would go to a caravan site for the weekend. There'd be pubs, arcades, and a clubhouse for kids with a bar for adults. We went every year and sometimes for Easter. As I got older, I didn't have much in common with my cousins or family friends, so I got left out a lot. I would always end up alone in the arcade or on my phone. Last year, my cousins and family friends were allowed to bring friends and partners who my stepmom had not met or met briefly, and they all hung out together, leaving me out. I tried to join in, but they would divert to what they wanted to talk about, which I wasn't interested in as much. Now, the actual issue. This year is my stepmom's 50th birthday, and the caravan weekend is next weekend. Her birthday is next Tuesday. Since it's her 50th, she and my dad are getting a caravan alone. So I originally would have been in a caravan with my half-siblings and my half-brother's girlfriend. Now I always end up playing referee as my siblings argue a lot. So I really wasn't comfortable staying in a caravan with them, knowing there will be arguments. I had asked originally if my best friend could come this time, as pretty much everyone else going, the whole family and many friends, have friends and partners going. My stepmom hasn't met her, but my dad has multiple times and likes her. So I asked my dad to ask my stepmom if she could come, as he would as he could vouch for her. My friend is responsible, we both are, so I knew we wouldn't do anything stupid over the weekend. My dad got back to me and said that he decided she couldn't come. I said okay and left it at that. Then one day my mom asked about what my dad said, so I told her that he said no. She then offered to pay for a caravan for me and my best friend to stay in by ourselves to help with space and take the financial burden off them in case that was the issue. So I mentioned it to my dad, what my mom was offering, and he blew up at me for going behind his back. I didn't. My mom was being nice in offering to do this.
You know, it's one of those things. It's like the thing where you ask your dad.
Yeah.
You're like, Dad, can I get this? And he's like, no, go ask your mom.
And then OP does, and then gets in trouble for it.
Yeah.
My dad then got my stepmom to message me, and basically she said, "It's my birthday. I choose who comes, not you." Which I understand wholeheartedly. It's her birthday weekend, so obviously she chooses who comes. But I wasn't forcing this on her. I was just giving an option that my mom gave. They both then said that they didn't want to be responsible for anything, which they wouldn't be, as my mom was paying for it. And my brother, on my mom's side, would be staying with us, so we had an adult with us. It basically got to the point where they both told me I disappointed them and then didn't speak to me for 2 weeks. They both then started messaging me, acting like nothing happened. I then posted a TikTok from the trend, "You're so funny, thanks." Then you say what bad thing happened. Mine said, "Thanks, I got shamed for expressing my feelings for the first time and got told I disappointed them for starting something and then didn't speak to me for 2 weeks. Then they decided to message me on separate days, acting like they didn't shame me or have a go at me when all I wanted was for them to listen and understand my perspective for once rather than their own." That's long.
I was going to say.
Also gives
we can
no
edit
context.
that a little bit. Yeah, we can
It gives no context.
Yeah.
They both saw it. I clearly didn't name them. I even have a screenshot of my original video if anyone needs to see it. And they both commented and started messaging me angrily. So clearly they knew it was about them.
Yeah,
okay,
of course they know it's about them, OP.
OP, you posted a really petty TikTok. OP, of course they're going to know it's
That's
you.
not oddly specific to anybody
Yeah, they're like,
whatsoever.
"Oh,
That's
this
very
is-
general.
This is OP's account. Oh, what TikTok did they post? Oh, that's about us. They've always acted that way, as in shaming my feelings and disrespecting them. My stepmom then blocked me after getting pissed off for blasting her on TikTok. Well, technically I didn't, as I didn't mention them directly. So it says enough that they knew it was about them. Again, pretty obvious that it was about them. Pretty obvious. By the way, you know what else is obvious?
What? What's
You can
that?
listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left of this story. I feel like it is somewhat valid for the stepmom to be like, "I don't want you to bring a random friend I don't know to my birthday celebration."
I think this is all very fair. Again, I feel like your mom, not necessarily, maybe it's not true, maybe it is. I feel like your mom's kind of like making decisions for this event when she
that
shouldn't
she's not.
be.
Yeah, I mean, it's for like the stepmom.
Stepmom.
So it's
the
like,
stepmom's birthday.
yeah.
And again, maybe she should have a conversation with your dad about it, and maybe your stepmom like,
Mhm.
"Hey, OP deserves a friend. You know, everyone has friends going.
Yeah.
The brothers got like." I feel like there was like a little miscommunication there, but again, if it is the stepmom's birthday,
Yeah.
and I know
Like
it's
she
really
may
dumb.
suck still. I don't want to like discredit OP's
100%.
experience with, stepmom, but I think in this situation
It's the roles reversed.
Yeah.
Like if OP was your birthday and your stepmom was coming and she's like, "I'm inviting my friend,"
yeah.
and you're like, and she's like, "How do you feel about that?"
Yeah, but there's a little left. Anyways, my mom still booked the caravan for me and my friend, but my dad, stepmom, etc. don't know that we're going.
That's not gonna be great.
Are you going to the same place? So we're just going for a holiday and not her birthday. If they have a problem, then they can treat me like an adult and actually listen to me. This is a bad idea.
This is a very bad idea. I guarantee you're gonna
Yep.
post this on TikTok.
Yep. Then my dad used my nan's will to bribe me into talking to him face to face about it all. I did speak to him and he didn't let me get a word in whatsoever, like always. Many things have happened with my dad being like this, which has put me in tears saying I hate him, and just some other things in general. I'm at the point where I'm certain I will cut them all off once I turn 18, as I won't need my dad's financial aid that he sends me each week. I know some things I have done aren't right, but I just need an outside opinion that isn't my mom or my friends who know of this. So Reddit, would I be the a-hole if I were to cut them all off after everything that's happened? And that's the end of that story.
I mean, this is not on you, OP.
Yeah.
This is definitely on your mom and your dad having a conversation.
The parents are probably like kind of putting OP in the middle of this.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what, like the mom's like, haha, I'm gonna do what they don't want.
I feel like they're using OP as like a ping pong ball of like,
yeah,
haha, no, haha, like she, yeah.
And also, OP in terms of like, would I be the a-hole if I cut them off? I don't think you would be the a-hole if you truly have a terrible relationship with your dad and just cannot be around them. Then yeah, you know, do what you need to do, but just be aware that in this situation, you know, I don't know if this is the only situation that you're basing this off of. I probably wouldn't have cut them off, but if it's kind of
reoccurring thing.
Combination of a bunch of different things, then maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I would have to know other scenarios because from just this one scenario,
it just
I'd be like, I don't know if you
dad
should
said
cut
no.
them off.
Yeah, all we got was like dad said no.
Yeah.
And mom said yes.
Yeah,
and
the not talking to you for 2 weeks, that was crazy.
We've all been there. I've been there. I'm assuming you've been there. Carly's maybe been there. I don't know. I'm not speaking for everyone, but I've been there where I'm like, hey, parent A, can I do this? Or could I go out? Or could I invite a friend? Or could I go to whoever? Can I go do this? And they say no. And then parent B says, sure, of course you can. And you're like,
just use that one.
They said yes.
They said yes. I'm gonna
go. And the other parent's like, I said no. And then it becomes a huge thing. And they're like, well, I said yes. And they just turn towards you and be like, what are you to do?
Yeah.
So
you have to choose.
My parents' business makes $500,000, but they expect me to work for free. Give me some money. My mother, 54 female, and stepfather, 55 male, decided early in 2020 that they wanted to start an online business. It involved a skill that my mother has that other people love to watch and participate in, keeping this somewhat vague for privacy. I, 34 female, have always and will always agree that my mother is very talented and that she is able to do something that many other people could not. By the way, this comes from Mama G05, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Sophia.
We're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We've never been in these situations, most likely. So we're just going to guess what we would do in this situation, but if you would do anything differently, let us know in the comments. So, OP says, on the other hand, my mother is terrible with technology. She constantly gets angry when things update, and she always calls me for help when she cannot figure it out. My stepfather is a throw the mouse against the wall kind of guy too. I was completely okay with my mother calling me when her phone updated or to help her set up internet and stuff, but I told her before she started her online business that I did not have time to be here every time something happened with her business. For context, I'm a mother of 3, ages 3, 5, and 10, and I'm a painter and homesteader with a husband that works 60 plus hours weekly, which leaves many of the home tasks to me. I am good with technology. I know how to build websites and do many things that most millennials can do because we grew up as technology was evolving. So my mother feels that it is her right as my mother to ask for my help and expect it. When she went to make her website, she somehow created 3 different accounts, was charged money on each for different packages, and spelled her domain name incorrectly. She came to me begging for help, and like an idiot, I gave in. I spent 10 plus hours helping her create a website for her business and teaching her how to use it. I told her that this was a one-time thing to help her start because I wanted her to succeed. She initially said okay, but then a week later she messed up trying to post and needed my help again. This is when she used money to convince me to help. As a couple with 3 kids that at the time was living on 1 paycheck, my husband's, having extra cash to put towards things would help. So I agreed to work for my mother temporarily until she could hire out her IT department. She has paid me $200 2 times. My mother's business blew up. My stepfather quit his job and began to work with her from home. I know for a fact that this year, since January alone, my parents have made well over $100,000.
Dang!
And are looking to have made at least $500,000 by the end of the year. It is crazy. That being said, my mother still has not hired anyone to do her IT work and is still asking me for help.
At that point, you literally just say, hey, I'm doing this much work, log your hours, say, love to continue to help, but I need to be paid this.
Right.
And if she refuses, then you don't help her.
Yeah. I let it slide a lot because she's helped me to start an at-home business selling my paintings, and I honestly felt like I owed her. But I'm starting to feel overwhelmed. This week alone, she wants me to do things for her every day, and I have had to take care of a kiddo that had to have a tooth pulled, a tornado that hit my town and took out the internet and ruined our outdoor AC unit, and trying to run my own business as well as run my homestead. My mother is constantly telling me that her life is so hard with everything that she has to do, and that having to live with my stepfather is more work than what I have. Yes, you read that right. My stepfather is more work than 3 kids, 2 of which have ADHD and 1 that isn't potty trained yet. I truly know that she believes that too. Another problem my parents have is that they are not good with money. They spend it as they get it and have no savings or 401k. They are a live by the day type, and they both have health issues that are very serious and require tons of medication. They feel that they cannot afford an employee to help because they do not have the budget for one. I've tried to explain a part-time IT person would help the business so much that they would make more than what they spend having one. My parents are holding a huge event where they are selling tickets for $550 plus, and they are wanting me to design advertisements, make web pages, create swag bags, set up online sales, and much more for free. Not only that, but when I added my business name to the flyer, my stepfather had a fit about it and said that people are not paying to see me. For context, my mother and I have very similar businesses and share many of our clients. They also want me to spend the whole weekend of the event helping them to run it and coordinating it for free when they expect me to be making anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 in profit from the event. They think that paying for a room for my family to stay in while I work is payment enough. It is just too much for this mama to do on top of what I have to handle in my own household. I am wearing thin and feel like I'm being pulled into many directions at once. Not to mention that I'm trying to work on bettering my health since I found out that I am diabetic 6 months ago. What should I do to help my mother understand that the business she has created is too much for just her and my stepfather to run? How do I get them to understand that I cannot in fact do it all? Also, I am terrible at boundaries and I know it. It infuriates my husband that I allow them to run over me like I do. How do I set those boundaries when my mother calls me in tears, begging for my help and telling me that if I do not help, then they will have nothing? And we do have an update, but I feel like it's right there.
It's right there, OP.
If they're saying that if you don't help, then they'll have nothing, then you're like, well, don't you see how much I'm contributing and how much I'm making you guys money?
I think what you do is you print out all of the, definitely don't put it on email. They're not going to figure that out. Print out all of the tasks that you do. Mm-hmm. Say, this is what I do.
Yeah.
This is what, maybe you could even say, this is what other people who are doing my job get paid.
Yeah.
This is how long it takes me.
Right.
This is how much money I've been bringing in.
Yeah.
This is, how much money you guys get every year. You're at whatever, 500 something thousand. You say, you don't have nothing.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that.
Exactly.
I'm going to send you a link to an accountant or a tech person.
Yes.
I'm going to send you a link to someone else. Right. If you would like to continue working with me, these are my hours, prices.
Yeah.
This is how much time I have to give to you, and don't respond to anything.
First, I want to say thank you to everyone that gave me advice and called me out about being a complete pushover and allowing my parents to control my adulthood like they controlled my childhood. I realized a few very important things when replying to those comments. My husband may get angry, but it's justifiable anger. He loves me so much that he hates seeing how my family manipulates me. My kids deserve a mother that is not exhausted from being up late at night and working on something that realistically is not her problem. My parents need to stop using me as their safety net. They need to figure out not only their IT for their business, but also their financial and retirement. I have let the fact that my sister passed away from an OD this past October and that my parents found her make me soft. I know that seems harsh, but I have been handling my parents in a much more gentle fashion because I'm worried about their mental health from the whole situation. I cannot imagine how that has affected them. but I am done working for free. Today. That being said, I confronted my parents about all of this. Surprisingly, my mother was the one who brought up the fact that I looked tired. Then I segued into why. During a video call, she mentioned that I looked tired and asked if the kids were not letting me rest. I explained that actually, I've been staying up late to work on all of the tasks that she needed from me and was not going to bed until 4 a.m. I said it firmly, but not angrily. She told me that that was not good and that I needed to rest. I told her that I knew, but with everything I had to do to run my homestead, my own business, and take care of the kids, there was no time during the day. She seemed quiet and said, "Oh." That was when I told her that she needed to either hire this work out or start paying me. She asked if I really thought that they should because she really liked working with me. I explained that if that was the case, then I needed to be compensated so that I could justify not working on my business when I was working on hers. She suggested paying me for my time working at the event, paying me for what I was currently doing, and then hiring this out afterwards so they would not drag someone new in during the middle of everything. I agreed, but added that we needed to talk about her plans for retirement and what they would do if one of them passed away. She tried to say that they had plenty of time to figure those things out, but I interrupted her firmly.
Good.
I reminded her that people can pass away suddenly, that both she and my stepfather already had serious health issues, and that she would not want to be working in her 80s. I insisted that she needed to get a financial advisor before something happened that could cause it all to fall apart. I told her I could not pick up the pieces for her now that I had 3 kids and other responsibilities, and that I was only saying these things because I cared about both her and my stepfather. My mom paused, and for a moment, I thought I had ruined everything. She even looked angry, but then she said I was right. I could not believe it. My husband, who was off camera, was giving me silent thumbs up and fist bumps, just as shocked as I was. My mom admitted that she had not been the most responsible person when it came to how she treated me. She said that she had treated me more like a best friend than a daughter since her divorce from my dad, but that I had always been so mature. She even said that she did not think that she would have gotten divorced if I had not suggested it as a 6-year-old. Back then, I had told her and my dad that they needed one of those divorce things so they would not have to live together anymore and maybe could be happy. They fought a lot, and 6-year-old me only knew that my friend's parents lived in separate houses because they were divorced. She promised that she wanted to do better. She admitted that she could see how hard I was working and how stretched I was. She told me she needed to stop using me for computer stuff because it was wearing me out. She said she was proud of me, proud of how I was with my kids, and that I was a wonderful woman and a better mother than she could ever hope to be. At that point, I was almost crying. My husband had to sit down from shock. Never in a million years would I have thought that a conversation about this topic would go so well with my parents. I think the main factor in the success was that my stepfather was not present during the discussion. As bad as that sounds, he's very immature and tends to make things harder to talk about. After all of this, my mother and I discussed that she wants me to help onboard their next IT person and that she and my stepfather are going to look for a financial advisor next month. They are traveling for business this month, which is why they're putting it off. I agreed to help, but stayed firm that I would be paid for my time. She even told my stepdad that these things would happen whether he liked it or not. We are also drafting a contract to make sure that there is follow-through. So I will be helping with the last bit of work for their event, and then I will be resigning after showing my replacement what I have done. I'm sure they will know how to do it better anyway, since I really am just self-taught. My husband bought home pizza, crustless for this diabetic, and wine to celebrate. I feel relieved. Woo. Thank you all for telling me to pull my head out of the dirt and realize that this was not healthy and that I needed better boundaries. My husband and I have also talked, and if my parents do not follow through, we will be going low contact and maybe even no contact. I need to take this time to work on myself, improve my health, and focus on my family's needs. I do not know what I would do without the crazy man I married, but I am very thankful that he supports me and is willing to help me create healthy boundaries with my family. Again, thank you to everyone for the advice. And that is the end of that story.
Yay!
Yay! We love when things work out. That's
This is
so
perfect.
exciting.
So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.